At home, a young man can't stop spiraling into deep, heavy trouble. He can't stop wondering why it all ended like that. Lying on the bed, he muttered something under his breath, and even though he couldn't honestly claim he was an incredible person, he still took his life seriously. He clocked into a normal job, walked down the aisle, and welcomed a little kid into the world. And somehow, he even managed to score himself a house. Now he's buried under debt, and his whole life gets swallowed by part-time jobs just to survive. At a meeting with his daughter's mother, he throws himself at her mercy, begging for one last chance to see his girl. But she coldly tells him the child has finally moved on, and he can only swallow his pride and apologize. At work, they fired him on the spot for gossiping and embezzling, and even when he tried to argue it wasn't like that, his explanation didn't save him. Next, a thug named him, bashing him while collecting a debt, but the MC snaps back hard. "I never took a single penny from you." The boy can't shake the feeling something is happening, and he's terrified he's just imagining it. He can't figure out what he did wrong, or when everything started spiraling out of control. Out of nowhere, in the dead dark of his own home, a stranger's voice greets him. A mysterious stranger in a black top hat leans in and tells him it's the most beautiful night imaginable. The MC stares at him, totally thrown off, and blurts out, "Wait, did someone come here to take you?" A dog pads up to him, and the boy's mind sparks with those whispers. The pet you adore shows up for you exactly when you most need it. Death stands there, and the man in the top hat grins like he's already won. Then he declares, "I'm definitely here to take the young man," but the truth hits. This isn't the company he ever expected. His mission was to send the MC into another world. Then the boy would call him the guide, and the MC was totally lost about it until the guide just snapped his fingers. Right out of nowhere, a weird vision hits him. Then, at dinner, a man leans in and taunts his ex-wife, bragging that she was so smart to drop both his debt and child support onto her ex-husband. At the end of it all, the kid doesn't even belong to that man. Yet the MC's ex-wife shrugs like it's nothing, and since the law says the girl is his daughter, he's stuck paying child support anyway. In the end, she refused to bring a child into life with her ex-husband, and she still did him a favor by marrying him. The young guy sitting with her snaps that women are scary, and she fires back that it was him who turned her that way. Rage starts boiling in the MC, and the guide snaps at him to cool off, because he only wants this young man to finally see the truth. This isn't some illusion, it's real, and it's happening right here as they talk. He can't deny it now, those red flags were screaming, but back then he just convinced himself he was overthinking. The guide swears he's a truly virtuous man, and that he takes every single breath of life dead seriously. He busted his ass for work, paid off every debt he owed, and still made sure his daughter was taken care of. Every last word was a lie meant to fool him, and the guide immediately asks if that kind of thing is even allowed, then snaps open his briefcase. He reaches inside and yanks out what look like catalogs, then grins and announces those are the exact gifts he came to hand the MC. Since he's been crushed by misery for so long, that guide leans in and asks, "Would you dare to try, and let reality finally gift you real happiness?" The MC spirals over another world dreams, then snaps to the truth. He really just wanted his ex-wife back, and he turns to the guide like, "So this isn't just about embezzlement." The top hat man smirks and tells him the twist. His boss pinned everything on him only because he needed a fall guy for his own crimes. Staring at the vision one more time, he finally gets it. He sees exactly what's going on. In the end, he turned out to be nothing but a fool, pushing through his whole life, sacrificing his health to the bone, only to sit there withering away while everyone else digs into some fancy dinner. Tears streamed down the MC's face as he snapped that he wanted revenge, and that he'd never forgive them. The man in the top hat grins, satisfied with how it all worked out. Then he leans in and drops the bad news. His life flames are about to go out, and the only thing waiting for him is a better afterlife. But to earn it, he has to swallow his revenge. The MC doesn't care how miserable his own life gets, as long as the people who wronged him end up just as ruined, and he'll do literally anything to make it happen. The guide snaps his head in a hard no, shoves the papers toward him, and declares that the MC's only path is the world where he'll be reborn. At the very least, he promises the guy a next life packed with fun, because when the MC picks where he wants to go, the man in the top hat just grins like he's already won. The guide swears that world is the perfect pick, where fantasy and science collide, intergalactic nations thrive, and human life keeps leveling up into something wilder every day. Yet the MC snaps. Why would you want to jump to another world? Then he points out the brutal truth. You won't even get the chance to pull off your revenge, if that was the In the end, he pushed himself to become a better person, because in his next life he swore he'd be more selfish, since it feels like good people never get rewarded for their kindness, and if he's finally getting everything he wants, then he's going to enjoy it his way, no limits. In that world, power equals nobility, so even with society moving forward, feudalism claws its way right back into place, and the guide is steering the MC straight into a noble family so he never has to want for anything. The MC flat out decides a good life is for fools, because as a noble, he can do whatever he damn well pleases. He faces the guide's brutal demand, and the guide bluntly asks if the young man's ready to live with what comes next, then wishes him a good life, as if that kindness is the real shock. Now he's got the power to become a true lord of evil. After the young man drops into a faint, the man in the top hat bursts into loud, roaring laughter, calling him a total idiot for believing he's the only miserable soul on earth, when plenty of people are suffering far worse. In the end, his ex-wife turned into his secret weapon. Now that his show is finally over, it's time to shut the curtains on the... To kick it all off, it was the guide himself who shoved the young man into that. He couldn't stop wondering how someone who's actually good and living a happy life could get crushed so hard, and he was so entertained he's begging for a sequel. Now he's got to race before the main course time hits. The guide starts twisting the dinner into his own game, grinning as he admits it's been wildly entertaining. Now it's time to shut it all down, because he wants to find out just how far the MC's ex-wife will go. The young man snaps that it's time to stop pretending and end this playing house nonsense. Her ex tells the MC, "You've got to be kidding," warning that if he dares to betray her, it'll blow up in his face just as badly. The young man warns the girl not to forget. The lawyer who handled her divorce was his, and he was even the one who helped her ex-husband's boss when the time came to fire him. Then she slams the table and snaps. "So are you seriously planning to leave your own daughter behind?" What? Then the young man snaps, saying the law says the daughter still belongs to her ex-husband. So if she's already getting alimony, she can deal with it herself. Tears spilling down her cheeks, the girl chokes out that he'd told her he loved her. As he strides off, he shoots back, "Yeah, I loved you once, but my heart's done." And then he makes it clear it's time for them to move on. The young man snaps at her not to touch him, and she erupts in a desperate scream, begging him to at least listen. She sobs that she'll do anything for him because she can't bear it if he walks away and leaves her behind. He can't believe she expected him to marry a woman who cheated on her husband, and he spits that her ex must have been blind. The guide claps with delight as he watches it, then leans in like, "So, how is this girl going to react right here, right now?" The girl snaps, asking the young man if he really thinks she forgot how she betrayed her husband just to get him. But he spits back that she's the only one who left him behind, and she loved every second of it. "So don't play the victim," he says. "You're the reason this happened." The girl's suddenly shaking, and she bites her finger hard, trying not to fall apart. The top-hatted man stares in shock as she suddenly spirals into thoughts of her ex-husband, then blurts, "Women are really strange, you know." The man who once loved her is gone for good, and the last thing he demanded was that she take revenge on her. She's going to hunt down her ex-husband, or snatch up a new one, but every time she tries, life slams the door in her face. Her future's been sealed to misery, and now the guide has to step in and help. A young man's soul gets yanked into a world where people's souls get devoured like trash, and by the time he even realizes something's wrong, it's already too late to regret it, especially since the guy in the top hat is watching as the MC realizes this isn't supposed to happen. And this is going to be his fuel, his nourishment, so yeah, that's the way it goes. Thus, he can either become the villain and drown the world in misery, or he can crawl into despair and resent the guide for it. The man tells him to leave, but he swears he'll come back once he's guided the MC's soul. All you'll see are fools rushing into the reincarnation world. Yet a little small talk is all it takes for him to reel anyone in. Now he has to scramble for a brand new way to strike, and right when the pressure hits, a brilliant idea suddenly lights up in the MC's room. Then, like ghostly fingers creeping out of darkness, spirits rise from the bed while the guide wrestles with the thought of whether to give the boy a sweet life, or ruin it just to test him. And if the MC is still thankful after all of it, that would be downright unbelievable. The top-hatted man smirks and decides he'll just watch the boy for now, playing it by ear. Then he can't wait for the moment he's dragged out for a public execution or torture, and sees the boy's face when it finally hits. And when his next life begins, it won't be short like Earth. His guide will make sure it's packed to the brim with pain. A tiny spiritual creature slips into the chase and goes right after the man. The top hat man leans in and tells the MC to make sure he suffers as much as possible, because that's how he'll get his fun. In that other world, right inside a noble's room, the boy stares into the mirror, and when he sees his reflection, he finally realizes the guide wasn't messing with him. He didn't just come back, he got a whole second chance at life, and in this new chapter his name is Liam Sarah Banfield. Liam prays to his hand, and suddenly he sees a toy car rolling to a stop. It hits him like a lightning bolt. He's been stuck inside the middle of a game. That's the Alvarite dynasty, an intergalactic empire, and he just burst onto the scene as the dynasty's heir, the heir to the family that runs the whole planet. Once he takes the throne, he'll become the king who commands everyone there. Then Liam starts asking himself what an evil lord is even supposed to do. Then shrugs, decides he can do whatever he wants, and honestly, that's what makes everything way more thrilling. Suddenly, a letter crashes into his hands, an urgent message from his god. Turns out, he's getting backup from an agent who's right there by the gun. Liam's parents show up, Cliff Banfield and Darcy, and one of them yells for the boy. They throw him a big congratulations party for his 5th birthday and press a gift into his hands. But Liam just stands there staring, totally lost and baffled. The Banfield family's whole stash, territories and everything else, gets handed to Liam, and the MC just can't believe it, so he asks what it even means, and his father hits him with the truth. It's the gift he's been giving him. The boy can't shake the question. Was it really true, and was that exactly what the guide meant when he talked about support? His mother rushes over and blurts out that she's got a special gift for him too. She's about to buy him a robot made just for him, one he can tinker with and modify however he wants. Liam blurts out what he's really supposed to do, and his mom tells him he can customize that maid however he wants. Using Windows system settings, he can pick and choose exactly the parts he wants to see on that woman. Then she pushes him to build his perfect employee, even down to picking the girl's inner parts. So once he realizes his parents are footing the bill, the boy goes all in and grabs the priciest option he can find. At last, his maid is almost finished getting everything ready. The last move Liam makes is finally letting her keep her feelings, and once everything's settled, his father leans in and tells him the boy's got great taste. His mother nods and says, "Kids are wild little creators," and that's exactly what she believes. That she's probably the close agent the guide was about to send, so at first he shoos his parents out of the scene, then leaves the boy with the perfect girl, his robot maid, the one who will never betray him. And when the dust settles, she's gorgeous, so his parents finally trust that the boy is in safe hands. Now they've got nothing left to worry about, and Liam asks. When his parents say they're heading out, the man confirms it. He tells him they're going all the way to the main Imperial planet, because they just bought a mansion in the capital, and they're moving in for good. All right, the boy has to sign the papers and stand guard over the family lands like a real lord. Yet Liam's totally lost about why he even has to sign in the first place, until his father shows him exactly where the boy's signature goes. The MC stares at it all, stunned that his parents just handed him everything and disappeared, but somehow he convinces himself it's all fine. And that's the twist. He's not some helpless kid at all, because he's the reincarnation of a middle-aged man. Because he's crushed by how much his parents have suffered, he decides he'll send them money so they can live in peace. Right then, he ripped everything away from his clueless parents and then carefully signed the paperwork. After that, he could demand all kinds of truly horrendous things. Back in the day, artificial intelligence ruled the world. Humans barreled in fast, slammed their rules down, and built an empire. And those new laws hit a brutal snag for anyone who dares to form bonds with artificial intelligence. Over time, everyone started treating artificial intelligence like it was no big deal, and that attitude quickly became normal. Liam's father snapped a question to his wife. How could she possibly give him a servant? And sure, people would probably gossip behind their backs, but Darcy Banfield shot back that she doesn't care. Because from day one, she never once warmed up to the boy. She's been focused on the Empire's complaints and nothing else. Cliff Banfield just says, "We've seen this play out before." And when it's all said and done, anyone in that spot would do the same, hand the kids everything and bolt for the capital. On that planet, Liam sinks into rest, grinning to himself as he realizes he now controls everything that belongs to the Banfield family. And now that's the man who rules the whole world, right there, the king himself. The boy watches in awe because even if he starts small and insignificant, he'll still become a king, as long as he holds onto his territory. A servant bursts into the hall, calls out for Lord Liam, and blurts that the robot servant has just arrived. Liam makes a bold request. He wants her in his room. A shadowy figure swings the door wide and slips inside. The girl beams, says meeting her master is a joy, and then proudly introduces herself as Amagi, the faithful servant. The employee tells her, from now on, Amagi takes care of the Lord, but then adds, one thing, she'll need maintenance every week. Still, the maintenance almost never drags past 2 hours. The boy admits he figured the servant would act on her own, but the employee shuts that down fast. Maintenance is just checking the girl's body, doing the cleaning and swapping out anything that's broken, then sending her back for repairs if something's off, so they have to keep checking regularly. Liam's stunned she can stay fully autonomous for a whole week after all that, and then it hits him. Now that he's king, he can do whatever he wants. He throws his arms open at the muggy, like, come on, but the girl just doesn't react. Then Liam charges up to her and wraps her in a tight, emotional hug. The world just kept turning, until his own employee snapped that a king shouldn't act like that. Still, the MC shot back that he'd do whatever he wanted, then ordered the guy to keep him updated on the territory. Right there, the man pressed something on the bracelet he wore. With him, system windows burst onto the screen, flashing the location details, and Liam just stares like, I don't get any of this. Because the moment he realizes it, he knows he's in deep trouble back in his old life. He was only a regular guy earning a regular paycheck. So it's crystal clear he has zero clue how to rule a planet, yet he still dreams of becoming an evil lord. And Amagi tells him, if you want help running the administration, I can handle it. The boy blurts out, wait, can you really do that? And then admits, I know nothing. Amagi blurts out that they should stuff the Lord inside the education capsule and make sure the territory is handled while he's there. And the MC just shrugs, saying he doesn't see a single issue with it. Still, his employee snaps that letting an AI run the empire is a punishable crime. So a magi should back Liam, and only Liam. The servant shrugs and says there's no rule like that in the empire, just one brutal warning, don't trust or obey any AI. She throws her master one solid suggestion, even though he still can't figure out how to run his own territory. Because in the end, it's Liam who has to make the call. In this world, they've got the education capsule, an easy tech that jams knowledge straight into your brain, and it even upgrades your body. Installing everything he needs inside his brain would take around 6 months, but he'd be stuck in hibernation the whole time. Liam calls out for Brian, his employee, and orders him to prep the education capsule right away. He leans in and tells Amagi, I'll leave the territory in your hands while I'm gone. And just like that, she nods and agrees. Brian snaps that Liam shouldn't pull that stunt, and the kid fires back. Doesn't the man even realize how terrified he should be of ruling over him when he doesn't know a single thing about it? So that's it, there's no other way out. Brian says he gets it, but he's basically admitting this is about to blow up into a full-on scandal later. The boy says it'll only be for a short time, orders Brian to get everything ready, and then starts thinking out loud about how to squeeze the citizens with taxes. Like, that body is seriously something. For now, he has to creep along, slow and careful until the time is right. In a packed bar, a young man leaned over to the bartender and demanded, so the new lord is just a kid. Tell me, how is a child supposed to handle any of this? Anything changed the day Cliff Bantfield came to power. Back then, he hid behind transfers, using it as a smokescreen to squeeze huge amounts of tax out of the people. The customer slams his beer glass on the counter and snaps, asking if nobles are nothing but tools for making a living, so the barista fires back. You still doubt that? But they can't possibly go head-to-head with the new lord in a... By the end, they're left with absolutely no hope, no help from anyone, not even the gods. 2 years slam by, and Brian finally clocks it. Liam has been quietly holding down the territory for every single one of those 2 years. The last lord had a seriously weird taste, so strange it made everyone go quiet. Staring at the painting, Brian catches sight of Lord Alistair, Liam's great-great-grandfather, ruled with kindness, and serving him feels like an honor written into his bones. But when the new generation seized the throne, everything snapped out of control. Liam's grandparents couldn't keep their life going, so they dumped it all onto Cliff Banfield and fled to the capital. And now Lord Cliff Banfield is doing the exact same thing with his own son. The butler raps at the door and announces himself to Liam, and the kid swings it open and tells him to come in. Meanwhile, Brian keeps demanding how he can help, and Liam shoots back with the real question. Why is Brian stuck in that place? Only a few days have passed since the boy crawled out of the education capsule, so the MC tells him, too late, that he can't step outside yet, and the moment he tried to leave, it all clicked. Step inside that mansion, and you'll see pure horror staring back at you. Brian insists the original word hits harder, but Liam snaps back that it's the worst way to describe it. The boy blurts that whoever built this place had to be out of their mind, then stares around like, "Why is everything here so weird?" And you can tell he's embarrassed just for the simple fact of living there. Brian pauses, overwhelmed with gratitude that the Lord still has a sane grip on reality. Then the MC blurts out, "I'm changing the whole mansion, so we've got to build a new one I actually like." Brian fires back, "What happens to the workers and the families living in the village?" The boy just scoffs, calls them all useless, and demands they get fired and the maid nods and says she's in. If they tear down that mansion, the bills shrink and the whole operation runs cheaper. Building a brand new mansion is going to eat up tons of time. So because of that, since the boy hates that mansion, so she tells him to hold tight while she sets up a perfect place for him to stay. And he realizes getting the mansion just right is going to take real time. Then he blurts out that they need the money to build a new mansion, and the girl admits they'll probably have to juggle the funds around. Right then, because their fleet is packed with warriors. Amagi stares at the numbers. Only 20% are actually running, and right then it feels like a waste of time, so she calls it. Cut the count from 30,000 down to 3,000. Ryan snaps, demands they hold up for a sec, and insists it's a basic rule of the continent. The fleet is always packing at least 10,000 ships. The MC squints at the numbers and realizes only 20% is actually getting used. Science insists it's not about that, but if they slash the fleet, they'll panic and the next move will be reckless. And those nobles aren't the only headache, pirates are crawling in too. Liam slows down, lost in thought, while Amagi calls him over and explains that pirates usually don't swarm, so 1,000 is more than enough. But the real trouble is the rusty ships, and she's sure that's worse than unused combat teams. They need to recruit more skilled fighters fast. Liam says they should just toss those employees aside and move on. The MC realizes he doesn't need useless lackeys, and Amagi snaps, "I'll handle the reorganization," adding that they'll likely have plenty of funds afterward, while the boy scoffs, saying it's plain stupid to leave 20,000 unused spaceships sitting around as decoration. Brian erupts, yelling that Liam leans on his artificial intelligence way too hard, and he needs to dial it back, because if he doesn't, the other noble houses will turn their eyes on the Banfield family. The boy fires back that Brian talks like the Banfield name hasn't already been stamped with shame, and tells him to shut up unless he's got a real suggestion. If the fleet's too small and causes trouble, the boy won't underestimate the troops, and he's convinced they can boost the numbers over time. Brian can't stop fixating on that thought. His mind won't let it go. Liam shrugs off the whole show-off thing, says he just needs what he really needs, then orders Amagi to rip through the setup and reorganize it all, because he's building a fleet that'll serve him perfectly. Then Liam leans in and asks Brian straight up if he's got any objections to cutting the number from 30,000 down to 3,000 for now. The employee dips his head and declares he has zero objections, and that stubborn, young boy hits him hard, because he reminds him of Lord Alistair. Liam surveys the clear path ahead, and without hesitation, tells Amagi he needs a hug right now. Brian can't shake the uneasy feeling in his chest during that moment, like something's about to snap. A little time later, Liam's rage explodes. Every new thing he learns about that territory only makes everything feel more and more hopeless. Everything feels so messed up that there's nowhere left to go, no mysteries left to touch. Yet this was supposed to be an advanced world packed with magic and science. But it's way worse than Earth. His territory still looks like the Middle Ages, the taxes are pitiful, and sure, he came in with plans to crush everyone. Yet there's no longer any real way to oppress them. Liam demands to know why they haven't reclaimed that territory yet, and Amagi tells him it won't vanish forever. Sure, it moves slow, but the land will come back on its own. From the nobles' side, it's all too easy to dump the people on their own, and if the crowd demands freedom, they'll just have to wait, because the nobles claim running everything takes time and effort. Liam's completely stuck on what to do next, apparently. His parents dumped that spot on him because they didn't want him around anymore, and now the MC can't stop thinking, did that guide just trick him? Amagi stares at the Banfield territory in ruins and admits it's really that bad, but she won't fold. If they pour those taxes into the right moves, she's convinced they'll pull things back on track in the next 10 to 20 years. Liam can't stop thinking about it, because in that world the people live for ages. The official adult age is 50, and he's got roughly 30 years left before he hits it, while the average life expectancy, a wild 400 years. But living past 600 is still totally possible, and Liam's hooked on that idea. Amagi even tells him that in just 20 years, everything will probably be back to normal. The young man pauses for a beat, then tells a scruffy Magi to do whatever it takes to make the growth of the... He draws the line in the sand, then leans in and admits he wants even more power. The maid tells him, if you want more power, you'll have to boost the fleet, but the boy snaps back that he's after personal power. Then Amagi raises an eyebrow and asks if he means pure strength. He nods and says he wants martial arts-style skills, or anything that can make him stronger. Since his past life, fear of violence has haunted him, and his dream isn't just to grow taller. He has to get strong enough to stand his ground and take on anyone who comes for him. Amagi insists Liam doesn't need something like that. He can handle the place just fine. But Liam shuts her down and tells her to hunt down the best mentor she can, no matter what the price tag is. He's done letting people snatch things from him. Now it's his turn to take, and to do it he needs more power. Meanwhile, Liam's ex-wife, straight out of his past life, walks down the street with her daughter, and the Guardian can't hide it in the comments. She looks completely worn out. Her hair's a tangled wreck, and her clothes look like they've been through a whole storm. That man in the top hat storms into a place and leaves pure chaos in his wake, no matter where in the world he lands. Then he starts humming a tune, and right after that he blurts out saying, he can't keep stalling like this. He's got to check in on Liam right now. He tears open a brand new portal and stares straight into the young man's life. Turns out he keeps a virtual maid on standby because he won't trust a single human, yet he still hasn't figured out what a noble is supposed to be. And that twist just makes it even more exciting. This man leans in, totally ready to mess around with Liam until something suddenly snatches his attention. He clocks that Liam is craving more power, so nobody can ever steal from him again, and he can't help but see just how foolish the kid is. At last, the Guardian steps forward and declares it's all under control, because it's his job to give Liam the exact care he needs. So he'll send in a person with jaw-dropping skill. The top-hatted man is betting everything that the MC will actually like the... When he stares down his own death, the Guardian will likely show up for him right then. At the Banfield Space Base, Yasushi is the one who's got Man Parks in his hands. He spots it right away. This planet is miles from anything, so remote that nobody in their right mind would even come for business. At first, he convinced himself that grabbing that instructor job was exactly the smart move. But now it hits him. His client is just a kid. And YASUSHI can't shake the feeling that this man might have his own issues, since the guy seems genuinely sorry for the boy while still pushing him through martial arts with all those complicated reasons weighing on him. Yasushi showed up with a sword in hand, because Liam was desperate to learn how to fight, and back then, a blade like that was almost unheard of. Now it's time to head over and teach that kid a lesson, then walk away with some hard-earned cash. Yasushi finally tracks Liam and Amagi down for a tense meeting. He shouts at the boy, and the boy answers in a flash. Then Yasushi leans in and tells him not to panic, because next, the teacher will kick things off with a sharp sword-style demonstration, and he starts drawing the moves right there. So Yasushi leans in and tells him his style's technique is deadly, and he won't risk showing it to anyone without serious caution. But Liam asked to see his skills, so he's making an exception. Besides Liam, he won't let anyone else lay eyes on it, so Amagi has to bail out now. The maid insists she can't leave for her master's safety, but Liam snaps back that she's being rude. Then she swallows her pride, apologizes, and says no matter what, Liam's well-being is the only thing that matters. Yasushi snaps that if it's true, he won't touch that job, and Liam clocks how stonecalm the guy is even in front of a lord. So yeah, he's probably terrifyingly good at what he does. Right then, Liam locks in and refuses to back down. He's going to learn from Yasushi, no matter what. So the young man orders Amagi to get out. No arguments, it's a command, and the maid nods, saying she understands and to just call if he needs her. Then she shoves something into his hands that looks like a TV remote, and Amagi blurts out that tons of people are out there trying to pull the same disguise, pretending to be. And with that device in his hands, he can spot a fraud instantly. Liam leans in and asks if this'll finally make him certain, and the maid nods, confirming it's enough. She barks out a quick goodbye, then turns and vanishes as the woman watches her go. Lemon tells Liam the device will sniff out every trick, so he better not drop his guard for even a second. Later, Liam sprawls a log on his lap and leans in, asking, "So, Yasushi, are you gonna cut that?" The teacher nods and answers, "Yes," then orders Liam to drop those logs anywhere he wants. Wants no matter where the blade can't. Then the MC flings the logs around the man, and Yasushi's attention snaps straight to the boy. He tells the boy he's about to reveal something huge, So powerful it might as well be magic. And once he masters it, he won't need anything else ever again. He doesn't usually let anyone see that kind of move. But Liam insisted on watching his skills. Then Yasushi slid his sword out just a bit, only to snap it back into the sheath at full speed. Liam's thoughts are racing. He's completely confused, staring around like, wait, what just happened? When he glances around, his jaw drops. He's left utterly stunned. Every last wooden log got chopped to pieces in mere seconds. That's the ultimatum technique. Yasushi grins at Liam and the little boy steps up, blurting out, "So when did he cut all that?" The teacher tells him, "Start learning this style and you'll uncover the answer to your question way sooner than you think." Then he leans in, ready to fire off a question that Liam can't afford to ignore. He's like, "So you really want to learn that style?" And the kid nods hard, "Yeah, I do." He grabs one of the shattered logs, staring at it like it's the most unbelievable thing ever, while Yasushi watches and realizes Liam is ridiculously easy to fool. Turns out he's a little slow to catch on, always trying to learn sword skills from a guy like him. Also, he can rake in as much money as possible. Yasushi's shocking twist is that he hasn't been caught yet, especially since he's a street hustler, and those logs were already cut once before. His whole plan was bold: get caught on purpose, then play dumb and claim he'd used magic like that would save him. And yeah, that thing Amagi handed to Liam, it's probably busted. The trick detector can sniff out serious, high-level stuff, but it can't catch something basic like that. Tells them to start with the basics, and Liam nods along without hesitation, 3 solid years. The boy finally starts to push forward, slicing a little more with every swing of the sword. Yasushi watches it all closely, and realizes kids pick things up insanely fast. Now, Yasushi has already drilled the kid through a handful of simple moves, and he can't help wondering what he'll hit him with next. Maybe it's time to binge some online tutorials. Laughing to himself, Yasushi decides this is his proverb because it feels like fate. He's stunned too. Everyone's been talking about Banfield House for ages, but that kid's living like a total minimalist. Yasushi figured Liam would quit eventually, but he's grinding nonstop, and to top it off, he's treating the teacher like royalty. Honestly, there's no real reason for a noble to chase strength, because they can just order their subordinates to guard them. After all, it's a cakewalk. Just sit there and watch. But don't get too comfortable because the maid is watching you like a hawk. Yasushi can't help wondering why that kid has magic glued to his side. Because those nobles must be desperate if they're handing leadership of every response to a child who doesn't know a thing. Disabilities, or whatever excuse they've thrown at him, leave Liam feeling guilty for all of it, but deep down he knows the truth. Yasushi is just using the kid too, and since Liam's the serious, corruption-hating type, Yasushi is toast the second this blows up. Liam's brand new mansion stands finished, and the boy just can't help but stare, because it's definitely something else. Much better, this place is a simple mansion, but it's got space for days. The new place has him grinning like never before, because that old mansion was a total atrocity. Magi leans in and tells the boy it's nearly time to step into the capsule. The boy asks, "So when should I do it?" And she smiles, "Whenever you want, this time it'll take about 6 months. Liam realizes he has to dive in now, because that education capsule is packed with too much knowledge, and even 10 years inside still won't let him soak it all up. So he decides to grab every last bit before he's even an adult. Liam snaps at Magi to guard his territory, but the maid looks terrified. She whispers to the boy to check something specific right away. Once Liam reads the words, panic hits him hard. He snaps at them, "Bring me the one who wrote that." And then he stops mid-sentence as the threat lands. A man drenched in glittering rings strides right up to them, and he says, he's terrified Liam will get the numbers wrong, those necessary values that he has to follow, and he's convinced they're twisting the truth and messing with the boy somehow. Liam stands there, locked in, analyzing that man like his life depends on it. Magi clocks it. This man isn't just messing around, he's committing fraud, and on top of it all, his spending is choking the place's growth, while a pile of those expenses don't even need to exist. Liam studies the papers, stunned by the sheer audacity of that man sitting right in front of him, grinning like nothing's wrong. He stares at the list of crimes this man has thrown at the state, and you can tell he's a seriously corrupt piece of work. Then he leans in and starts talking. Man, he's locked in, hell-bent on stopping this. Then it hits. The man snaps Liam's attention and warns him not to trust the toy because artificial intelligence has already crushed countless civilizations. And yep, so they're enemies of humans. Of course, he's probably racked up a few mistakes along the way, but don't sweat it, because he can look at every cost like oil and grease, paid in full to keep everything running smooth. No matter what you say, a robot can't possibly understand that. Liam's eyes go cold as he demands the man whether he had any fun after he shattered the lives of his subordinates. PMC asks if it felt good to pin his fraud crimes on them, and when panic hits, the man finally starts scrambling to explain himself. Liam refuses to hear any of it and fires back, asking if it was fun making other people pay for his crimes. Then the furious man snaps that Liam should be grateful, because that luxurious life is theirs only because he made it possible. Slamming onto the ground, the man howls that it's only because of his support that Liam gets to live in comfort. But before the thought even settles, frustration boils over in the boy, and he swings his sword straight into him. The moment he locks eyes with that man, his mind snaps back to his old boss. The MC snaps, "Shut your mouth," and the man collapses to the ground, lifeless. Liam's drenched in red, and a muggy woman rushes in. She scrubs the boy down with a foamy bath to get him clean. Then she blurts, "Are you okay?" After getting fully cleaned up, the MC snaps back to himself and whips around to face the man crumpled on the ground. Liam's rage flares at that man. He calls him a bastard and promises he'll handle everything himself. Amagi grabs the boy's hand, still clenching that S***T. She grabs the sword, then leans in and tells him to let go of the weapon for a moment. He yanks his hand back, instantly freaked out by that contact. Amagi strides up to Liam and demands he let her help him. Once he feels at ease with the maid, he can finally see. Seeds, he's still blind to plenty of corruption cases, but if they're planning to wipe everyone out, that's going to explode into disaster, because the damage those corrupt people started has already steered his life for years. Time's ticking. She might slide into their roles, but that move would spark even bigger problems, and Liam can't stop himself from asking. So what can they do instead? Amagi tells Liam they could hire a surveillance AI. It's not super advanced, but it's scary good at watching everything, and Liam immediately asks, "So how much would it cost?" Amagi bluntly says they need at least 30, some to outfit the mansion, and the rest to scatter across the whole territory. Exhausted, the MC tells her to do whatever she wants, and the maid shoots back, "Are you sure?" Because once they plug in artificial intelligences, he can bet the rumors will multiply like crazy. But the boy fires back that he doesn't care. Yet in that exact moment, he trusts her more than ever. Amagi leans in, gently caresses the boy, and promises she'll make sure everything kicks off as fast as humanly possible. Liam realizes he doesn't need anyone who's going to stand in his way. In the dead of night inside the tavern, rumors ripped through the air like wildfire. People swear the Lord crushed a corrupt official, but some people won't buy it, because all they can say is, he's just a CH. Still, the bombshell leaks straight from inside the mansion. So when he steps up to the bar, the young man freezes, staring at the news like it just hit him. They're tripling compulsory education, going from 3 years to 6, and it sounds like the country's already scrambling to build more schools and make it happen fast. Construction workers were swapping the gossip, and yeah, turns out they're going to be stuck busy for a long, long while. He can't help thinking, man, I want that kind of luck too. Honestly, their lord looks insanely generous, and he's only 10 years old, which they never in a million years could have predicted 5 years ago. I can't wait to see how the Lord keeps evolving in that same way. Brian stands in front of a crowd, holding their attention like he's about to drop the next big bombshell. Finally, they've got real functional members, people who take their jobs seriously and actually show up to do the work. Brian admits they might be nervous, but Liam always looks after anyone who takes their job seriously. Then a girl steps up and asks to talk, pushing hard about whether Liam really needs to work the night shift. Brian tells her the boy's still too young, so she shouldn't worry. Amagi handles most of it for him. And then one of the employees asks, does he always keep that toy right by his side? Brian's fury spikes the moment he hears it. He snaps that he'll pretend he never heard a word this time, but he warns there won't be a second chance. The employee drops into a bow and blurts out apologies, and Brian thinks to himself, yep, Amagi's got real talent. But then he realizes this stunt is going to trash his master's reputation. Even so, because the boy trusts her with his whole heart, you can't separate them. He's glued to her like a child to their mother. Masters Cliff Banfield and Darcy Banfield should have guarded Liam better, because Brian insists Amagi is extra special to him. And if anyone talks trash about her and Liam finds out, they won't be able to. At least we're finally holding our ground now. Things are looking way better with Master Liam, and Banfield House is clawing its way back to the days of glory, 20 years. Liam starts to land pieces of the move his master taught him, bit by bit, until he's finally copying Yasushi Shu's attack. Liam's proud of it, sure, but it still isn't enough. He's 30 now, and after all this time, he only managed to cut 2 out of 3 trunks. 20 years later, he still can't recreate even a lousy, cheap image. Liam rushes to Yasushi to apologize, then blurts out that his skills are nowhere near his. At least that's what the teacher keeps saying. He explains that the sword path is brutal and endless, with nothing waiting for you at the finish line. And still, somehow, Liam has grown by leaps and bounds over the past 20 years. The moment the MC hears the news, his excitement explodes. He pushed his body to the limit day after day, getting stronger and stronger. Yet even then, he still couldn't do what he. Now he has to chase down the final piece his master hinted at. The secret technique to pull off that attack is a Magi. By sliding in a fresh layer of blade tech, you can push the sword's reach way farther. Liam asks, "Is this right?" And his teacher snaps back, "You're closer than ever, Liam, but there's still one last piece missing." This is a study guide, because if he wants to use a Magi, he'll have to grind for it. Liam's totally thrown off, since a Magi can't shield anyone from shots fired by spaceships, so all that learning barely matters. And honestly, it's way smarter to just carry a weapon than to waste time learning how to sling magic with your own hands. Sure, not every Magi is worthless. Some, like healing Magi, actually save the day and still pull their weight, and Magi can be deadly useful for controlling humanoids too. But just learning the basics isn't enough. Liam's fired up and vows he'll level up in his magic lessons, but Yasushi slams the brakes. He says Liam needs a breather, stop chasing everything, and lock in on what actually matters. Maybe a solid 10 years is the real starting point, and until then, Liam has to grind and practice the bass. The boy goes quiet and reflective because he really thinks he's made solid progress. Then his teacher clocks it, and Liam nods, saying he understands. He asks how things are going with the boy's territory, because if he's going to be a true lord, he can't spend all day training his martial arts. The boys. Liam says everything. It's going great, and he's already kicked off new projects. But he can't believe how fast that world moves. Scrapers can be built in just a few days, and honestly, it feels like a huge mystery. He couldn't wrap his head around why his parents and grandparents never did the same thing. So to him, that's proof there's no excuse not to raise taxes. Yasushi grins and says, "This is good," then dares Liam to prove himself with the basics. Then he snaps that they're done training the easy way. Time to throw a blindfold on him and strap some weights to his body. That'll spark brand new lessons for Liam, and he'll level up even faster. So the MC's freaking out, because it's exactly the kind of stuff he swore he'd seen in manga when he was younger. Meanwhile, Yasushi's losing his mind. He's staring at that boy, baffled, wondering how he managed to copy his fake trick with a real sword, and Yasushi had only. The boy learned the basics. Then somehow Liam still grew even more. He tore out corruption until it was gone, and now, when they catch out the lie, Yasushi's finished, straight to his end. Now he has to start squirreling away every last bit of money, because if everything collapses, he can't afford to have blown it all on foolish choices. A few more years fly by, and Liam finally breaks into a huge grin, because he's starting to figure out how to unlock and use his other senses. Yasushi can't help but wonder if this is exactly what his master meant when he warned him never to trust what his eyes claim, because that kid somehow picked it up immediately. The MC beams with excitement, flaunting his skills like it's nothing, and Yasushi clocks it instantly, eyes widening as he's genuinely impressed. So to save himself, he blurts out, "Don't get too hyped." Even though the boy's gotten better at his other skills and senses, he still hasn't pulled off anything truly extraordinary. For a moment, Liam goes quiet. Then his face lights up, and he blurts out that there's way more he can pull off while he's blindfolded. Sushi tells him that sword is way too weak for his power, and he's demanding a brand new one right now. Then the boy practically bursts with excitement. Liam can totally see everything, even with his eyes shut tight. Meanwhile, Yasushi sneaks into the Banfield house storage, and the man explodes with rage, stunned by just how insanely strong Liam has become. He's completely lost, because he never imagined the boy would adapt so fast. Quickly, then it hits him. He'll forge a super heavy sword and shove it into the boy's hands to keep him occupied for a while. Just like that, a wild idea sparks, comes to. He blinks up at a colossal creature and his face lights up like, "No way, this is even better." After a bit, when things finally quiet down, the muggy starts getting curious. What's Yasushi up to? The man leans in and asks if she can turn that machine into something they can actually use to train Liam. The maid squints at the model, saying it's ancient and they should switch to something newer. Yasushi snaps back that they can't. Those brand new robot knights were ridiculously easy to pilot. So fast the boy would catch on. and that meant Yasushi wouldn't get nearly enough time. The man tells them that older model will work best for Liam, and Amagi snaps back that it's not even being made anymore, then admits it'll take forever to patch up. And yeah, this model sits at just 24 meters, while the 80 and 40-meter ones steal all the spotlight, but Yasushi's not worried. He insists those older machines were built like tanks, and restoring one will be way more efficient than trying to fix a brand new model. Maggie argues it's not that simple. Upgrading to a newer model would be way cheaper. But the professor insists the older one is far better, and says she can tweak it to turn it into a personal machine for Liam without burning a fortune. Still, Amagi swears there's no need for that, because it's way easier to just build a fresh model for her master, and it'll cost a fraction of the price. Still, Yasushi storms up to Amagi and grumbles that tweaking that unit would be way better. Liam, he'd teach the boy to handle it the hard way, no fancy tech like everyone else, because this kid had to learn machines the real skill way, using his own hands. Amagi can't figure out why they're holding back when the new weapons work so damn well, but the man tells him it's a lesson Liam has to learn, and the maid nods, saying that if he insists, she'll set it up as fast as she possibly can. He thanks her, tells her to grab whatever money she needs, because this is all for the good of Lord. Amagi can't shake the feeling that man isn't a real swordsman. Sure, Liam has grown stronger and picked up new skills, but Yasushi, he doesn't look like much. And the more she hears his story, the simpler it sounds, like she's starting to fear he's being steered and used by someone else. She's ready to follow his orders, until the catch hits. That machine was built by the Imperial factory, and she's not sure they've got the money to pull it off, yet she has no choice but to press forward. This muggy is ready to go to any length to fix that thing, but there's one rule it can't ignore. Liam has to be protected. Amagi storms out of the family warehouse, and what she sees floors her. Right ahead, Liam stands with a blindfold on, and he tells her those footsteps are the maids. Amagi snaps that it's straight-up dangerous for the boy to roam around like this, yet the boy just shrugs and says it's all part of his training. He tells you he overheard her planning a robot night just for him, and Amagi breaks it down. Yasushi pushed for an old model, even if the newer ones would have been way more efficient. Liam stayed silent for a beat, letting it all sink in. Then he finally said his master has got reasons only he knows. Amagi paces the mansion like something's wrong, watching him stroll around in a blindfold, blind to every danger, and his worry shows. In the city bar, everyone lifts their drinks and cheers like they've won something big. A boy steps in and blurts out that business is booming, like everything's going unbelievably well. Our tender finally confirms it. He managed to hire a few people at last, then leans in and asks how the boy's new job is going. The boy grins and says, "Everything's going great, and I've been slammed with work. Ever since that new lord took over, everything feels flipped upside down, like life was way better back when his grandfather was running the show." The boy leaned in and asked the bartender how long ago it happened, and the bartender shot back, "About 500 years ago. Back then, everything felt way more advanced, and now the Lord is getting quieter and quieter by the day. For the last 20 years, nobody's heard a single word from him. All anyone knows is that this Lord is obsessed with artificial intelligence. Wild, right? Still, he's got everything running smoother than ever. And with things going this well, you can bet they're thrilled beyond belief." Liam can't believe his eyes when he sees that massive machine. Even if it's an old model, it still looks like someone put real work into getting it ready. The factory engineer they brought in finally spills the truth, saying it was way simpler than anyone thought. She never imagined she'd have to keep an old unit running like that, and Liam leans in, asking if she knows that exact model. Nia's Carlin says their factory cooked up that model, and every veteran just got hit with a wave of nostalgia the moment they started working. Then she leans in and asks if Liam's really sure, because that unit's a beast to control, packed with all those assistance functions that make it anything but simple. Removed, the boy can't stop thinking about it, like the gap between an automatic and a manual car, when Yasushi cuts in, saying he's sure Liam will be. He manages to pull it off, then orders them to find what's missing, and Nia's Carlin steps back with a sly, satisfied smile. Then she flashes a confident smile and says, "No meeting needed, everything we need is right there in that manual. And if she's going to explain anything, she'll do it straight to Lord L." The boy's jaw drops as he stares at everything he's seeing. He can't shake the doubt. When that guy claims he wants to talk to Nia's Carlin about the model, he starts wondering if he's even serious. Liam is convinced that his master is a truly virtuous man. Then they step into the machine to get a closer look. Inside, there's a whole mysterious space waiting for them. They unleashed spatial magic to stretch the cockpit's interior wide, then built the pilot a seat so comfy it felt unreal. Liam clocks that the chair is insanely soft, like it's swallowing him whole, and as he grips the controls, he can't help but think this is pretty cool, right? He also loves how that giant looks. Nia's Carlin even points out that most boys go crazy for the black units, but seeing someone drop so much money to fix just one is seriously rare. Liam clocks that some people are pouring their hearts into it like it's their whole world. For nobles, robot knights aren't just gear. They're proof of military muscle, and they flaunt them to look untouchable. River, robot knights are all the rage with the nobles, so if you're gonna blow money on one, you better pick a real winner. At least that's what his master kept insisting. But Nia's Carlin clocks the truth fast. Most of them are churned out by the masses. It's pretty rare for a noble like Liam to care more about what's inside the machine than how it looks from the outside, so his request instantly caught my attention. Then the girl grabs his attention and dares him to try the robot for himself. A weird chill hits the boy out of nowhere, and then right then and there they slap a label on him. He's the pilot of that machine. And that robot won't listen to a single soul, only him. It's a one-of-a-kind personal unit, and Liam can't stop smiling at the thought. The second he tries to move the machine, that massive metal beast crashes down to the ground. A robot is sprawled there, and Liam just can't wrap his head around what he's seeing. Nia's Carlin doesn't look the least bit worried as she calmly starts explaining what exactly is going on. Turns out that unit can't self-balance, because that crucial function is one of the things it doesn't have. It's way harder to pull off. Until he finally masters it, then he'll steer that robot like it's basically an extension of his own body. The MC clocks it instantly. If he can take control of that machine, he'll already be halfway to becoming a top-tier pilot, and Nia's Carlin agrees. Pull this off, and he'll be an amazing pilot for real. If he can't rein in that robot, he just tanked a huge chunk of his chances. But if he nails control of it, that unit will hit just as hard as any other, because in the end it all boils down to the pilot's skill. During his training, Nia's Carlin learned how magical control works, and now he can fire his Maggie to pour his imagination straight into the machine. Slowly but surely, he strains and finally lifts the robot. Yeah, Carlin clocks it right away. The kid is crushing it on his very first try. Liam says the simulator taught him a ton, but the engineer shuts him down and tells him she's not talking about that. That unit's way harder to tame than a normal one, so if he's mastering it this fast, talent's practically screaming out of him. The MC fires back that she's just flattering him, but the girl shuts it down fast, because using that machine takes a wild, rock-solid mental imagination. Still, the boy has to be extra careful. Nia's Carlin snaps at him to handle the controls gently, promising that everything will click into place if he imagines that machine as his. She tells him, don't sweat it. That machine is massive, built like a tank, and this robot knight isn't your typical unit, so controlling it is way harder than anything else. The robot knight just stands there, moving like a slow, stubborn horse instead of charging forward. Nia's Carlin snaps, asking what happened, then tells the boy to get moving and start walking. The machine suddenly moves exactly like the boy pictured in his wildest imagination. Nia's Carlin is blown away by it. Liam's cheeks burn with embarrassment. He blurts, "That's not what I meant," and then it's time to call it a break. Down below, Brian watches every move, and plot twist, Liam is the one driving Lord Alistair's unit. Tears streamed down Brian's face. He was genuinely moved, and the moment the robot started moving all wrong, confusion hit him hard. He tries to reach Liam, but nothing comes through. Meanwhile, Jesus. He's furious the boy stormed in alone with Nia Carlin, and then Yasushi snaps into Brian's communicator and orders Liam to get out of there. Now. The man berates the boy and blurts out that he's a brat. Then Amagi hears it, and Yasushi, still raging, jumps in to apologize, saying he just got carried away, while Amagi fires back, wondering if he's really a real swordsman and a master of martial arts. Nia's Carlin stayed by his side for 3 long months, vanishing only after she drilled him with every last instruction on upkeep and what the machine demanded, and Yasushi fumed. Because not only did he never get the girl's number, he couldn't even land that kind of contact. Either way, he won't forgive that boy for hooking up with the girl he had his eyes on. So when it comes time to deal with Liam, he's going to make sure Liam pays. Brian steps up to Liam and tells him, "That kid's pushing himself way too hard in training, like it's turning into a problem." Brian watches it and thinks, this is way tougher than before. But he doesn't panic because he's getting stronger, and with his master's power behind him, he knows exactly what he's doing, so he just hangs his head and agrees. During training, Yasashi keeps smashing the boy over and over in rapid succession with these things that look like rubber. He snaps, why isn't Liam handling this? Because if he can't, he'll never be a top swordsman. Yasashi snaps, use your spatial awareness. And the MC immediately does what he's told, completely complying. The planes fire back, claiming there's no way to handle that many shots with a wooden sword. Yet Yasashi doesn't budge, saying nothing is impossible and the boy has to figure it out himself. And deep down, Yasashi can't ignore it. In his mind, this honestly feels like the kind of thing that should be impossible. But somehow, Liam throws himself into the chaos and still manages to shield his body from every single strike. Yasashi's jaw drops as he realizes the boy's raw potential is off the charts. The MC practically blurts, "Oh, I finally get it," then snaps a magical shield around himself for protection, laughing, "Turns out it's not that hard once you understand." And right there, he realizes what his training is really about. Mixing sword fighting with magi, because using only one just won't cut it. Liam rips into action with his magical power, whipping every incoming ball aside before even one can hit him. They rebound hard, then a few rockets smack Yasashi and the MC blurts, "You good," like he's already pumped. The man realizes fear has seized him, and he decides he wants nothing to do with that boy anymore. So he tells Liam, "That's it, there's nothing left I can teach you." Yasashi tells Liam he hasn't mastered the secret technique yet, but Liam can pull it off on his own, and now he only has one last mission: keep training nonstop. Liam explodes in rage, demands Yasashi push his training even harder, and insists he can convince Yasashi's boss with even bigger offers. So Yasashi starts sweating at the thought of getting a whole center all to himself. He's thrilled to hear that, but he's still stuck in the middle of his journey, way too soon to open his own martial arts school. Liam pushes him to train anyway and spar with him to test his skills, because the boy's desperate to find out just how far his techniques can truly go. Yasashi shrugs like it's nothing. He's got every wooden log already lined up and ready to go right then. The guy in the top hat pops out of nowhere and he can't help but wonder, "Where's Liam? How's he doing?" So yeah, turns out his territory has quietly expanded, and now he's watching, wondering just how far Liam has pushed his way with that fake swordsman. Then the boy unleashes a secret technique, slicing through the logs in mere seconds. So fast the top hat man just stares, baffled, like, "Wait, what was that?" Amagi is blown away, and so is Brian. But the young man shuts it down fast, saying he's still nowhere near his master's level. Liam craved answers with his whole heart, then his master vanished without a trace. The man in the top hat stares at that boy, totally stunned by what he just did, and demanding answers. Elsewhere, Yasashi leans in and confesses to a girl that his swords are downright pathetic compared to his own apprentice. Liam somehow shot past him before he even noticed, and now he's right on the edge of becoming a top swordsman, while the girl beside him can't help but stare in awe. Yasashi can't help but stare. Of all people, Liam even offered him a martial arts school, and what blows his mind is this kid can slice things cleanly without ever once yanking his sword from the sheath. The man in the top hat seethes with fury, utterly furious and boiling with outrage. Liam takes a breath and realizes he's insanely lucky. His teacher is a top-tier swordsman, and his territory is changing fast, but he thought he'd be in deep trouble at first. Turns out his guide had his back and pulled him through. The man in the top hat snaps, and he just can't wrap his head around it. Liam is actually grateful to him. Then he has no choice. He has to go straight for drastic measures. The guide watches Liam every single day, clocking every move like it matters. He can't stop thinking of ways to make the MC hate him and crave the moment he's gone. In the end, he still failed to deliver those nasty things to the board. Still, despite everything, he's got nothing but Brian and the Magi riding with him. The guy figured the boy would mess everything up, and he tried to keep him surrounded. He's busy playing it cool with women, but his thoughts stay razor-sharp. Then he catches exactly what's brewing in Liam's mind. His territory is booming, and the people finally breathe easy with real economic freedom, just like he expected, because once he gets them rich, it's a straight shot to take everything he wants. Liam isn't interested in squeezing the poor for money. The MC clocks that the boy mirrors him. Then he hoists everyone up with his power, only to snatch the ground out from under them the moment they're soaring. Liam can't stop wondering if he should start inviting people into his mansion, maybe even force them to come with him. Even if he thinks bringing people to the castle without consent is a great idea, the MC knows he'll never win their hearts, and it doesn't matter. Liam would crave the most terrifying scenario imaginable. Then Amagi slips into the cell, demands more military personnel, and tells the soldiers about every ounce of unused material. But because they're about to lose some equipment, they go asking to hire new people, and Liam clocks it instantly. They'll probably toss in the useless, incompetent types. Still, they're Imperial soldiers, some even graduated from the Imperial Military Academy, so they're not just talkers, they've got real combat experience behind them. Amagi blurts out that hiring these military types is a brilliant move, right there, before the plan even takes off. Liam looks utterly drained and finally nods, "I accept." The guide's eyes light up. This is a perfect idea, because he can use them to spread seeds for the future, so here's the real question. Can those soldiers actually survive a cruel lord rebel they refuse to let stay on top? Things are getting insanely fun, and I can't stop smiling. And he has zero regrets, maybe even pushing himself too far, and honestly, nothing feels more disgusting than gratitude. So the guide snaps that he'll take some time off, and on his next visit, he's determined to keep himself entertained for days. Liam stares at his reflection in the mirror, still stunned that he's actually 40 years old. Amagi blurts out that Nias Carlin, the engineer, wants a meeting with the boy so he can update him on where things stand. The boy can't wrap his head around it. Why would that engineer trek all this way just to inspect the machine? Then Amagi shrugs it off and says the whole inspection is probably just a cover, a way to push weapons. He fires back, "So why are you thinking she'd choose that asterisk place?" And the girl answers with a grin. She's likely banking on one thing, how financially stable they are. He's financially fine, but rage sparks in the boy's eyes. He snaps that she should sell it to the Imperial armament instead, and Amagi realizes he's heard the weapons factory's name. Everyone praises their top-tier production quality, yet their designs always stumble, and on top of that, the prices are brutally high. And just like that, the Empire shrugs them off, because everyone's watching a bigger, more famous weapons factory, praised for both killer quality and jaw-dropping design. Sure, other factories are everywhere in the Empire, so with that brutal competition, trying to stand out feels like a fight. Liam clocked Nias Carlin's crazy long journey just to see him, so he figured there's no way he won't meet her with open arms. Nias Carlin barrels up, all fired up, and tells Liam, "Long time no see." Time passed, and the boy looked so much bigger she barely even recognized him. Amagi studies the girl's uniform and realizes it breaks the Empire's rules clean in half. Liam can't stop wondering why that girl ended up there in the first place. The woman claims she's here just to check on the unit she left behind, but Liam snaps back that he knows that's not her real motive. She's probably come to pitch and sell something. Nias Carlin perks up because the kid doesn't beat around the bush. He comes right out and asks if she wants to buy any battleships or weapons from the 7th factory. The boy snaps that these new ones cost way more than what they're using now, and then drops a bomb. You could buy 3 ships for the price of just 1. This Carlin hawks her product by bragging that the ship her factory builds is way better equipped. So yeah, that's why it costs more. Amagi leans in and whispers to Liam, warning him that if he buys anything from the Empire, he'll get hit with extra fees that aren't in the listed price. Then Nias Carlin immediately starts to worry. Then she leans in and swears she'll guarantee the weapons, performance, plus their brand new model will smoke every competitor out there. Liam snaps, ordering her to sell it to the Imperial Army, but the girl fires back, saying they botched the inspection and never earned a commission. Liam snaps and wonders why they don't keep up with constant inspections, and Amagi tells him it's probably tied to a mistake in that product. Nias Carlin told us straight up they'd grumbled about the sky-high production cost, and that the ships were smaller than other models, so yeah, they didn't like it. Liam studies the models and realizes this shift won't change performance at all, so there's no point wasting money on it. Then, out of nowhere, Nias Carlin rockets to her feet, visibly rattled. She pushed the boy to think again. If he drops down to an even smaller batch of ships, they can still strike a killer deal. That sweaty boy snaps into an argument with him, but they both shake it off and agree the deal just isn't worth it. A girl is steaming mad as she tries to hawk her product, but the design looks awful and it performs like trash. At the end of the day, that product was straight up awful, terrible from start to finish. Nias Carlin pushes back hard, insisting the price tag for production and upkeep is on a whole other level. And Liam shoots back that it's not the problem, but the engineer starts to panic and even tries to seduce Liam to make him stay. But the boy carries heavy trauma from his ex-wife, and then out of nowhere, his reaction shocks everyone. Nias Carlin seethes with indignation, and the boy snaps back that he feels absolutely nothing for her. He starts to cry, and Liam's getting worn out fast, so he blurts that maybe he can buy 200 ships. Nias Carlin shuts him down and demands 300 instead. The MC then turns to Samagi and asks if that's even doable, and she replies that it's totally possible, because in the end, getting those ships is no big deal at all. Nies Carlin throws him a grateful smile and promises she'll blast the ships there right away. The boy says he'll pay for them, but they're not walking out until they fix the design. At least swap up the look, cover what needs covering, and don't ignore the interior either. Nies Carlin even asks if he doesn't want to appreciate what's already there. VM snaps that this is exactly why she can't pass the inspection, and she insists she has to look at it the way her customer would. The engineer snaps that she should stop talking like that, because it's hurting her feelings, and truth is, every decision on this ship was made by her superiors. Amagi just watches, thinking the girl seems built for nothing except doing her job. Meanwhile, back at the mansion, Brian couldn't help but grin. More guests had started pouring in lately, and that was a win for everyone. Nies Carlin stood tall, bragging that he managed to sell 300 ships, even after he had to make major modifications to design. She knows she gave it everything, and now her only mission is to sell that ship. Brian catches the whole conversation, and the man blurts out that it's wild, how she pulled off a sale with nothing but her seduction. Nies Carlin straight up confirms it's real. Her partner is left staring in disbelief at what she claims, but the engineer steps in anyway and swears it's exactly. So he can't wrap his head around why she won't just marry the boy, but the engineer shuts him down and insists the man should be grateful to her. And still, all he does is complain. Nies Carlin watches it all and feels crushed, because instead of appreciation, he only mouths off and drags her name through the mud. Brian can't shake the feeling that Lord Liam just walked straight into a seduction trap. Liam is locked in a fierce showdown with Thomas, the only one who's allowed. The boy stepped up and demanded, "Did I bring the yellow candies you asked for?" Thomas slams open a box right in the middle of the table and tells the young man to check inside for him. The MC's expression snaps into a huge grin. Then he blurts out that this man is an absolute top-tier mercenary. Next, Liam demands to know why Thomas is even there, because showing up just to say hi makes zero sense. Then the merchant leans in and tells Liam he wants to join his troop and march through the third-party sectors. The boy fires back, asking if the places Thomas wants to hit are really that dangerous. Then the man snaps that it's not the destination at all, because the real nightmare is what waits on the road: pirates. Merchants get jumped by them again and again, right through the day. Amagi tells them, "If all you want is 100 soldiers, I can line them up right now, instant." Liam says, "If that's the case, I'll hand them over. Just bring back the rewards." And the man nods while Thomas says he gets the rules. Next time, he's thinking of showing up with a bigger sack of yellow candies for the Lord, and Liam nods like, "Cute," then pushes harder. He wants that merchant to bring in real profits for him too, and the merchant agrees. Once the deal was locked in, he ordered Amagi to rally the vassals right away. As the merchant storms out, someone calls after him, saying the Banfield House's territory has grown over time. And even though the Lord is still barely out of boyhood, he's already thriving. He's nothing like a typical noble. He's downright peculiar, but man, is he generous. Thomas, the merchant's companion, blurts out that he can't wrap his head around why the Lord demands all this gold. Because in that land it's not even rare, and sure, a precious metal is shiny, but he could have asked for anything else. Thomas says he's asked the same question too, and that it doesn't bother him. But the truth is, he's still completely baffled. Before this, he'd hauled jewelry, precious stones, and magical trinkets to the Lord. But when he looked up, disappointment twisted his face. He's only truly happy when he clutches gold in his hands. The kid tailing Thomas snaps that Liam's words are a mess to anyone trying to follow, and the merchant nods right along. Because honestly, Liam's confusing behavior couldn't be more convenient. And every fee he pulls in gets shoved straight into investments to keep the place thriving. Thomas can't stop wondering just how far this evolution is going to push before it breaks the limits. They're warning that this round will be even deadlier than the last, because this negotiation is the lifeline of Banfield House. And the man clenches his fist, refusing to back down. This time, he's locked in to reach the profits, because it's his sworn duty as the Lord's one and only merchant. Liam slaps his gold pieces onto the tape, pile after pile stacking up fast. Brian bursts into the room, eyes sharp, taking in everything. He points out that the boy only ever wants gold, and then he demands to know what Amagi really thinks about that. The maid nods along with Brian and insists it doesn't have to be gold, not necessarily. Liam insists that gold is more than metal. It's a bright symbol of health. And it's a stunning treasure with an unchangeable worth. Its value is priceless no matter what. Amagi and Brian are left totally stunned by that. Then he presses the boy, asking if he even realizes mithril and the other metals are way more precious and valuable than gold. The boy insists he knows that, but Brian presses him. Why won't he settle for the other stuff? Liam shoots back, furious at the way Brian's thinking. Then he fires a question. Does the guy even like wearing those mithril accessories or any other gemstone? And Amagi shrugs and says, mithril rings? Girls wear them like they're the coolest thing around. The boy points out that Brian is decking himself out with all those metals as accessories. But only gold actually fits the moment, and Amagi nods, saying that logic checks out. Brian finally admits the boy's right. And in ancient times, gold wasn't just shiny treasure, it was a prized symbol of prosperity. Liam pauses for a beat, then blurts out his plan to use gold as currency and tells Brian to handle it. Amagi blurts out, asking if Liam even realizes Brian is just a butler, and Liam smirks. Because if the kid wants him to play the role, then that's exactly what he'll do. The boy stares at the numbers for his territory, thinking, at least I took the bribe. That has to count for something. But deep down, the place still isn't anywhere near good enough for his standards. Amagi stares at how fast the territory has ballooned, and Liam snaps back. Those are just numbers. If you can't feel it in your bones, it's not the truth. And yeah, this world is nothing like what he pictured, and the clothes are downright awful. He just wants it to change, like right now. The boy can't stop wondering if he can put some money into fashion experts and make it actually work. Our MC cooked up a plan to summon a few models just to entertain the crowd, so everyone could sit back and feast their eyes on something truly beautiful. Amagi tells them, we're doing fine, but trouble's still lurking. Then she points out the numbers. Every time the rates jump, the prices jump too. And the territory's costs have skyrocketed right along with everything else. Even so, if this is what Liam wants, she won't turn him down. When the guests finally show up, Liam can't ignore it. Everything turned out nothing like he'd hoped, and he's still not satisfied. Amagi tosses him other choices, but the boy shoots them all down too. The top hat man storms back to check on things, and when he sees Liam, not doing what he expects, pure outrage ignites in him. Evil built him up, shoved all his hopes onto the boy, and now he's crushed by disappointment. He wanted a cruel lord, but what he got instead is pure, surprising kindness. The guide's head starts to spin, as the boy's gratitude hits him like a wave. No matter where he turns his gaze, things never get better. At least then Liam's hard-built territory can finally be wiped out, and nearby pirates with nothing better to do are just waiting for the chance. Because the top hat man is hoping to scrape together a little entertainment during the boy's final hours. The pirate captain sails off, then leans in to watch closely. The explosions, and he grins like he's never, ever going to get tired of watching them. One of his subordinates blurts out, asking if it's okay to leave them to their own devices, and Goza snaps, snatching the boy's face in rage and yelling, "Who the hell gave you permission to talk like that?" Before the boy even gets a word out, he grabs him and smashes his head into his hands. The other subordinates sprint in, scrub the whole area clean, then race off to grab something magical from He grins and says, this time, everything was ridiculously easy. The pirate captain snaps, what happened to that girl we grabbed? And his lackey answers with a cold smirk, it's time to get rid of her. Degrees, because honestly, it's kind of awesome to get a brand new toy every now and then. No matter what, that one just wouldn't quit. It was built like a tank. His subordinate says it's straight up impressive that even after all that, the girl still managed to hold her ground. Then it all boils down to sanity, so they start wondering what to do next, if they should finally take a breather. And right then, the captain hears about a kid nearby. He heard the news about the boy from Banfield. People were praising him as a kind, generous lord. And then the rumors hit. He'd been trying everything he could to push his territory to grow and evolve. One of his employees tells him they've heard about this lord, and they wonder if Banfield is next, and he just smiles back, confirming it. After all, it's way more valuable to rip apart something that's already. The rise, because if they don't strike back after all that, it would feel downright criminal. Tangled in the top hat man's strings, Goza clenches his resolve. Now he's hell-bent on showing Liam exactly what hell feels like. Liam realizes that ever since he got reincarnated into that sci-fi world, being stuck inside the mansion all day has been absolutely unbearable. Amagi points out that since he's the ruler of that world, stepping outside can get messy fast, but the boy refuses to stay trapped indoors forever. The maid clocks that Liam's wish could spell trouble, then shoots back. So, what exactly is the Lord trying to pull off? The boy says he wants to crank the rates higher and force the population to suffer, make them bring the pain on themselves. Amagi warns that even if he bumps the rates, it might not be smart, and they only pull that move when there's a real need. If they charge in recklessly, they'll blow up the whole plan to wipe out the territory's debts. Liam rips into Amagi, furious that he shouldn't have to think like an adult, so he can use his authority to start violence and take whatever he wants. Yet even so, he has to pull himself together and think smart. Trying to shake off the stress, Liam blurts that they should go hunting for beautiful girls all over the city. But the maid bristles at the very thought of it. Liam tells her straight up that even if she's unhappy, he won't budge. Then the maid spots something and goes, "Wait." The whole city's entertainment has changed in a huge way, and people would asterisk kill to finally get the chance to meet the master. Liam hunts for anyone who won't want to see him, then quizzes Amagi on whether it's okay for him to bring outsiders into the palace, and she shrugs like it's no big deal, saying they wouldn't mind at all. People kept voicing complaints because he demanded to feel like the king of his own territory. Amagi grabbed the boy by the moment and told him to stop shrinking, because the master wasn't just watching, he demanded confidence. The ruthless head of House Banfield standing side by side with the king ruling the whole planet. MC snaps that even with all this, his plans refuse to move forward, and Amagi shoots back that with them buried in debt, there's no way to burn money on luxuries or stupid nonsense. So the boy admits wiping out those debts won't be easy at all. Then Brian bursts into the room and drops terrible news. Pirates have officially declared war on the Banfield House. A tense meeting kicks off inside the Banfield House government building. The pirate captain demands one thing: hand over every last inch of territory and give up the beautiful women living there too. At that grim bureaucratic table, some folks swear the smart move is to cave to the pirates, while the rest snap back that they should stand up, grit their teeth and fight the enemy head-on. Still, this is razor-thin, because they've only got 8,000 soldiers, while Goza's pirates swarm in with over 30,000. Even if they don't fight and give the pirates what they demand, that still doesn't mean the coast will clear. Before long, the whole table starts turning into a shouting match. Liam's completely baffled, staring at the chaos like, what do I even do now? Then the boy blurts that it's only worth it if the reward is huge. Silence snaps over the room for a beat, and he's stunned because nobody dares to argue or even speak. Out of nowhere, the guy in the top hat pops up and steps right in front of Lee, grinning as he introduces himself. The MC is stunned when his guide shows up, then stops cold and says, "I'll be quick, time travel absolutely wipes you out." Liam rushes over, says it's been ages, and demands to know what those pirates are supposed to mean. Then he snaps, "Wasn't the plan for you to give me a life of peace and happiness?" The man in the top hat grins and tells him, "Nope. This is my gift to you." The MC doesn't get it at first. Then the guide steps in and spells it out. In this world, Liam is right on the edge of adulthood, and if he wants to rise, he has to grow with prestige and earn real recognition. His kingdom's territory is drowning in debt right now. He finally sees why he can't get what he wants, and the guide drops the bombshell. This time he'll fix every problem in one shot, while the pirates he summoned roll in with a fortune so massive it's impossible to count. When Liam finally faces them head-on and wipes them out, he'll earn the fame and glory everyone dreams of, and the money to back it up. The second he hears it, the boy practically bursts with excitement. The top hat man hypes the boy up, brushing off those pirates as if they're no big deal, and Liam shoots back. "Thanks, you've been a huge help." The man in the top hat bolts out of there at lightning speed, tossing over his shoulder that it's literally his job. Everything crashes back into reality. Liam slams his palm down on the table. Then he declares, "This is my first real battle, everyone get ready," and vows he'll smash Gauze for good once and for all. Everyone in the room erupts in outrage, shouting that this is pure foolishness. Even then, Liam doesn't flinch. He says he's in charge, barks the order to get ready for battle, and since it's a command, everyone there is stuck being silent and following every. Right then, they have to dig deep and grab every last ounce of strength they've got. Amagi storms to Brian to tell him everything's falling into place, exactly as planned, because the master is about to board the battle. Brian rants that everything is terrible, right when things were finally starting to look up, and the maid shoots back that they haven't been beaten yet, and the master probably won't drop that battle. After digging up the truth, she realizes this surrender won't save a thing, and then she hears it. The Imperial Army is finally heading here. Brian knows it's too late. By the time those troops show up, everything will already be ruined. He's totally hopeless. He was convinced the Banfield House was about to roar back to its glory days of. If Liam had been born 100 years earlier, he could have stood up to those pirates. In the dead of space, the ship tore forward. Liam looks fired up and thrilled, and the man in the top hat can't miss it. The boy is genuinely enjoying the gift. He insists he can't help Liam, but that scene hits him hard, and he believes it'll make the boy shine in battle. And trust me, his army is no ordinary army. Because of the box he's got, stolen from the Imperial Army, his gut tells him Liam's a bad person, even so. It's like he woke up in his past life and learned absolutely nothing, still fumbling, still fooling around. Because right now, his whole life is just a toy for everyone else to laugh at and enjoy. That gratitude will curdle into anguish and hatred, and the smile on his face will snap away, gone. The man in the top hat can't wait to see what kind of face Liam makes, then he backs up and leaves. Now the MC finally digs up the truth, and as it hits, he's the one keeping the crowd hooked. Banfield House fields about 5,000 troops, an army you can feel before you even see it. Inside the ship, chaos is roaring, everything's spiraling out of control. Even so, Liam's still shockingly calm. He corners the captain and demands when the battle kicks off, only for the guy to snap back. It already started. Liam snaps, questioning if this is even the battle, but the man shuts him down, saying they can't afford to act reckless like that. The boy asks, if I can't see the enemy, what then? And the soldier snaps back, in space, distance is a moving target. Liam freezes like, wait, I think I learned this in that educational capsule. And then he blurts out, so is every battlefield like this? What? The man snaps, saying it's not quite what you think, because the truth is way more complicated than that. They're getting crushed from the start, and right now the danger is real. This could go south at any moment. Dangerous, Liam starts to wonder what he can do when someone suddenly drops the bombshell. Communication is getting interfered with. That interference is creeping in from up there, like something, overhead and messing with everything. And the attack is charging in, right on top of them, with a force of 5,000. The soldiers start to bristle with nerves, and the captain beside Liam snaps that the enemy has seized the initiative. Liam snaps and wonders if it's really smart to burn their forces like this, then presses why they only sent 5,000, while the soldier watches and figures they're just trying to smash the Banfield family's opening formation. No matter how fast they try to slam into the enemy's advance, it won't stop the damage. They'll still get hit. The young man leans in and tells Liam, those aren't pirates at all. They're soldiers from the towns the pirates rolled through. He suddenly gets it. Those enemies are really pirate victims, and if they can fire signals, they should do it right now. If they can't, fine, because it won't block the line anyway. Then the MC notices the real danger. If that communication gets messed with, he's in serious trouble. Meanwhile, the pirate captain sits there looking ice calm, like nothing in the world can rattle him. He claps and blurts, so the Banfield family really annihilated the 5,000 battalions I sent. He can't help but wonder if that boy actually has solid subordinates backing him up. Goes. Orders his army to spread the word. If they snag Liam, they'll get double the reward. His subordinate snaps, you sure about this? Then argues that hunting that kid could be dangerous, because once Liam's out of the way, he can tear through them and destroy his people. After the surprise hit throws everyone into panic, their command is probably in total chaos. So this is the exact moment to surge forward, and the pirate captain is on board. Then he barks an order. Everyone push forward and teach those pirates the real way to settle a war. Enemy forces surge straight at Liam's army, smashing ship after ship as they crash through. Everywhere they go, only chaos and wreckage remain. GOAS is throwing a full-on celebration as the enemy ships burst into flames and explode. Suddenly, boom, a massive explosion rips across the pirate ship, shattering it into pieces so fast the whole crew can barely breathe. Space reels, what if the enemies planted space mines? His subordinate speaks up. They're actually doing way better than anyone expected. Indignant, Gaz yells for the pirates to charge forward and smash every last one of those rich kids. No time to waste. Even so, the war rips into a higher gear, and the Banfield House crew charges forward. The pirates' employee warns that the enemy army is tightly organized and fully stacked with top-tier gear, and Ghost snarls that they've got everything they need. So they should march forward and hit with even more violence to wipe them out. Explosions rip through space, pure slaughter, so it's weird the nobles and their private army would show up for this. Anyone still standing will get wiped out. The fight keeps raging, and the pirates push even farther ahead. His employee rushes to the captain and says they're about to move, and it's like the battle's fate is already stamped in stone. Goza then laughs as he mocks the enemy's puny resistance. Liam's ships start making a break for it, and the boy can't help asking, how long are they going to keep running? The soldier snaps that right then this is their only play. Buy time until the Imperial army shows up. So they've got to drag this battle out as long as they can. and suddenly, Liam gets completely confused. He fires back with questions about what the kid is talking about, and why someone ordered them to wait for the Imperial Army. Liam fires back, demanding they understand he's going to win with his own power, and that the battle's fate will be decided long before the Imperial Army even shows up, just as the captain nearby scrambles to hit back. He fights to make them understand. Those enemies are pouring in by the hundreds, and they could even hit the planet any moment. So the army's job right then is to tie them down, because Liam refuses to listen to any of it, and he's decided to do this no matter what it costs, even if it means everyone pays with their lives. Liam roars out an all-out frontal assault on the enemy as the Boyd stays silent, and the MC calls out again, telling them to pour every last ounce of power into taking down the enemy. Then he snaps out an order, "Follow me right now," and Liam shoots back that he'll push forward too with his SH. Goes is stunned, the boy just won't move even though there's zero hope for him, and he didn't hide the kid beside him either. "No," he snaps, "you're wrong, the Banfield force is closing in." A steel robot knight barrels toward them at breakneck speed across the pirate ship. Liam shouts at them to unleash their own robot knights too, then orders all his personal guards straight onto the battlefield. Slams into the scene with his machine, furiously yelling at them to stop him, right now. With a razor-sharp strike, he carves through multiple robot knights in one clean hit. Around him, his soldiers stare in awe at his raw strength, and they can barely look away. Believe this kid can pull off all of this at such a young age. Liam walks around with total confidence, like his robot could never, ever fail him. Even so, that boy hasn't hit adulthood yet. He's still not even close, and that's a big problem because turns out the boy's past is brutally heartbreaking. His own parents tossed him aside, yet he still acts like a proud lord, and now he's risking his life to save them from the pirates. There was a time when that soldier seriously considered quitting the army, but then he met that lord, and everything inside him flipped. He refuses to let a pirate storm his territory, and for the first time he's watching a noble step up and face the enemy head-on, but the boy does. He's laughing with pure gratitude, and it hits him hard. Serving that lord feels like an honor. With every step forward, Liam's night machine tears through the world, smashing everything right in its way. The enemies crumple in seconds, like it's nothing at all. Liam grins wide and declares, with total confidence, that he's invincible. His power is straight-up monstrous. He tears down anyone who dares to get close. He realizes the enemy's blows can't even leave a mark on him, and he figures it's all because of his gut. Everything his master drilled into him had a point behind it, and once it clicked, his eyes finally opened to the truth of what mattered. Now, as the enemies surged in from, that boy's locked in. He knows exactly what he has to do. The boy screams and fires at the enemies, grinning because they finally reveal themselves. He refuses to be defeated, and he's determined that the name Liam Sarah Banfield will never be. Some robot knights start charging forward, way faster than before. This snaps Liam's focus. He can't help wondering if those guys out there are really pirates. Knights drag on. No matter how hard they try to push ahead faster, everything still crawls at a painfully slow pace. Leo connects with every one of them effortlessly. They can't wrap their heads around it. Where in the world did this boy learn to fight with a sword like that? Liam Mox blurted out that his master's name. Yasushi, those pirates are furious because a kid can battle like that. And the wild part is they've never even heard the name, Yasushi. Liam snarls that anyone who dares to badmouth, his master will get destroyed. Rage blazing, the pirate captain slams his fist onto the table and demands, "Who is that famous knight?" His subordinate blurts out that the one piloting that robot knight is none other than Liam. Dead serious, and he's tied to the Banfield family. He can't even process it. Those mercenaries he paid a fortune for are getting steamrolled, and it's happening at the hands of some kid. Rage starts to boil up inside the man, and it keeps getting worse. Rage boiling in his veins, he yells for them to press harder on Liam and end this for good, only for the boy to already be sprinting straight toward him. The pirate army is all but crushed. That battle's tide is turning against them fast. This is their perfect shot to slip away, vanish, and hide, because the pirate army is only going to swell bigger. Still, Goa isn't panicking one bit thanks to that alchemy box of his. He can print as much money as he wants and restart everything again and again. The pirate barks for his underling and Go snaps back. "If we keep playing like this, we're doomed, so call only the ones you fully trust. The rest can be sacrificed." If one of their own ships steps in the way, they'd flatten it to dust in an instant. Liam crashes onto the enemy ship, landing hard and taking control in the same breath. He's grinning because he finally made it there at Right then, every last scrap of the pirate's treasure turned and landed in his hands. Liam's knights rush up and ask if he's all right, and he snaps, "I'm fine," then tells them to get ready because they're about to go in. 1,000 of them have to stay put behind, while everyone else storms after him. They order him to invade, because the mission is to wipe out every single person in their way. Liam's army finally shifts aside, clearing the way to drop the mission into motion. Now the kid gets locked in, determined to hunt down his treasure, so he slips onto the enemy ship and crawls right through a gap. When Liam steps in, the enemies lunge to smash him, but nothing lands and it all proves pointless. His soldiers closed in and demanded, "We came for you," but the boy dug in his heels and refused to go. Liam declares he's heading out on the treasure hunt, and every person there is joining him, but his army starts griping that it's way too dangerous. Still, the MC stays rock steady and tells them to go on anyway. Anyway, Liam and the crew finally step inside the ship, only for the boy to shoot straight ahead and claim it's way cleaner than he ever imagined, while his soldiers start freaking out, because something's about to go wrong. Safety waits, something catches the boy's eye. He blurts that an enemy, up ahead, yanks out his weapon and strikes hard. Just as they lock onto the target, a sneaky enemy hidden in plain sight crumples to the ground. Turns out they're dressed in ridiculously expensive gear that lets them vanish from sight. The MC clocks it instantly. If they can pay for clothes like that, they've got to be sitting on mountains of treasure. And then, right as the thought lands, someone closes in on. A pack of pirates circles him, scoffing that the kid was totally careless, because he never even clocked them creeping up on him. But right before he could move against the MC, his own soldiers came charging at him, right to his face, like something had finally snapped. Liam already cracked the problem wide open and sliced every enemy into pieces. Liam's soldiers can't believe what they're seeing, and he snaps at them to move, because he's heading deeper into the... From far off, the top-hatted man watches the entire back like he's hunting secrets. He can't believe Liam is that freakishly strong. The teacher, Liam's handler, set him up with screamed fraud. But somehow the kid actually learned something, because the moment the guide realizes it, panic slams into him. Pain claws at his chest, and it feels like his insides are ripping loose and about to splinter apart. He watches the pirate captain like a hawk, and the guy in the top hat shrugs that it's just not his style to jump straight into someone else's mess. But the situation forces his hand. Goa's curled up in the corner, shaking with terror. Like this is the moment it all ends, and he's scrambling to figure out if he can buy Liam and his crew off with the treasures pulled from that cube. Suddenly, the man in the top hat's voice booms inside his head. The pirate captain squints at that figure, and then, bam, his own body feels like it's been overtaken from the inside. In a dark voice, the guide tells him, "I'll give you one shot, take extraordinary power and end Liam." He says the Gojo can steal all that power, unless he'd rather throw the fight to that kid, and the captain snaps back that he refuses to lose. Then black smoke pours out of his mouth as agony hits him, wave after wave. The guy in the top hat keeps his eyes on everything, soaking it all in with a grin of pure joy. His body is fully taken over. He's possessed so hard that he even starts changing. With a flick of magic, fear vanished from him. Nothing could scare him anymore. Suddenly, the man's power spikes like a lightning strike. His guide swears Goza's skin is as hard as diamond, beyond anything a normal human should have. And in that instant, his fear vanishes as he forces himself to attack Liam. With his powers buzzing in his chest and zero fear in his heart, he charges straight toward the dude. The guide just clocked that he might have oversold those powers a little. But even so, it doesn't matter how terrifying Liam gets, because he still can't beat Goat. The man in the top hat stumbles backward, and behind him an animal spirit suddenly appears, staring in total confusion like it's just as shocked as he is. Once Go's magic ran dry, his cube plummeted to the ground, and the dog just stared at it, curious as ever. When Liam was just a little kid, he had a dog, his closest best friend, and together they were absolutely inseparable. Liam couldn't stop smiling at that little creature. Now it's like the dog feels he has to pay back what he owes, so he steels himself and heads out, determined to hunt. And Liam, right as the dog trots past the MC's group, Liam jolts like he just spotted a ghost, startled beyond belief. His soldiers demanded answers, and he swore he'd seen a dog out there, like that was the only explanation. Then the whole crew charges in to track that pup, but the sensors come up empty, nothing, not a trace. Still, the MC swears he saw the little creature with his own eyes. In his past life, he had a pet dog, pure love and pure energy. And when everything else fell apart, that loyal pup was the only living thing that never, ever betrayed him. He'd completely forgotten about that dog, until now. One of his soldiers spots the boy and draws his attention, and the kid shrugs it off, saying it's nothing serious. Liam's convinced that if he finds that dog in this life, he'll go all in. No holding back until he gets to take it. He takes care of him. Then out of nowhere, he spots Goza's cube dropped on the ground. At last, the golden box is finally his. The soldiers swear they always knew the boy had a thing for gold, but they never imagined it was this bad. Liam insists he loves gold for real, yet his eyes lock on something looming on the horizon. His men shout at him to stay put, but the kid sprints straight toward what he's convinced is his golden prize. Suddenly he spots a door shut tight, locked down hard, but there are fresh footprints that stomp right through it. With one sharp twist of his sword, Liam blasts that massive metal door apart piece by piece. Inside, a hidden treasure room stretches out like a secret jackpot, and you can't help but stare. Liam looks at those treasures and snaps. He's decided it's all worthless, even as his men scramble to argue that it is. Still, there's a katana, right there waiting to be drawn. Liam snatches the sword up with a grin, shaking with excitement. He's drawn to that weapon, and before anyone can blink, he decides, mine, even if. The thing looks priceless, and the boy can't stop himself from turning it into a weapon. Then someone yells at Liam that an emergency is happening right now. Turns out the emergency warning was all about this. They tried to take down someone who looked like a ghost, then every bullet got repelled, and their weapons just failed. Liam, listen up. This place is deadly, so you need to turn back right now and get back to the ship. His soldiers start getting restless, but the MC doesn't flinch one bit. He tells them they're pushing forward and won't stop. The men scramble to beg the boy to stay put and not take another step, yet he pushes forward anyway. Is no good. Inside, the soldiers keep clashing in the chaos, but every attempt to strike lands with failure over and over. That pirate captain is daring enough to march straight onto that ship, and once he's in, he's declaring they'll never crawl back out of their hole. With a cruel grin plastered on his face, he promises that every single person in that room. He snatches those toys for himself, then he rockets straight at the soldiers. With a sharp motion, he snatches the helmets off the men, still grinning. Then Ghost tells them not to feel ashamed for playing. He screams for them to grab the kid and bring him over. From a distance, the soldiers watch the strikes fail, and this guy looks like a twisted, stronger human version of himself. So they fire off a warning to the MC, yelling at him to run straight for the ship. The soldiers dig in their heels and swear that monster will never reach Liam, even if it costs them everything. The squad pushes forward, charging straight at the enemy. The man crumples out of Goza's grip and hits the ground lifeless. Then the pirate captain roars with laughter, asking if that's all they've got. Before he can so much as react, a shocking attack slams into him out of nowhere. The attacker rips through with multiple cuts across his body, and the poor guy just stands there, utterly stunned and lost. Liam shows up in front of him, and the MC snaps, saying his attack won't do a thing against that enemy, because Go's power is apparently insanely hard to stop. The strike finally comes to a close. He lets his sword crash to the ground. Rage boils in him as he blurts furious questions. Who is that kid? Then it hits. He snaps, stunned because his hand's been cut clean off. In the blink of an eye, it all happens. Then the victim crumples to the ground. When Liam's hand reaches for his sword, the MC snaps that the man won't need it anymore, because right now, he's doing more than fine with his own hands. Goes lunges at Liam to snatch back his sword, but Liam chops off the other hand. Then realizes the blade is insanely powerful, slicing through the enemy with ease. And just when it seems like Go's done, his strength hits harder than anyone expected, and tentacles start bursting out of him. He juts his hand forward and roars, "Don't you dare underestimate me." Right as Liam's about to land another strike, he yanks the tips off every one of his tentacles and rips them into tiny pieces, leaving Go stunned and speechless for a split second. The pirate captain writhes in brutal pain as Liam barks that it's way too loud. Then the soldiers sprint straight at the boy to try to save him. Because the enemy is already torn to pieces, and now all that's left is his torso on the ground, forcing the question, is that boy really Liam? The MC sneers that for that piece of trash, his name is Lord Liam. The boy fires a question at the soldier, who is that creature? And the man answers with a shaky guess that it might be a ghost of some kind, when the pirate captain suddenly starts to materialize right while they're talking. He lashes out with a fresh tentacle at the boy, roaring for Liam to finally look his way and stop ignoring him. The boy snaps through it just as fast, and then he barges back to the man, calling out how ridiculously loud he is again. He pressed a sword to Goza's neck and demanded to know if he was the pirate captain. In total desperation, the man throws himself at Liam's feet and pleads for his life, saying Liam can have every treasure if he just lets him live. Then Liam's face snaps into a massive smile, like the deal just got way too good to be true, and he turns the whole thing around, then snaps, "I don't want any of that." A hideous face, tattoos crawling all over his skin, boom, it hits him. He's looking at the same loan sharks from his past life. With way more power in this life, Liam leans in and asks if Goes is still not getting it. Every treasure that pirate ever hoarded already belongs to him now, and the only thing left is for him to become Liam's trophy. In total despair, Ghost gasps that he's incredibly strong. Yeah, he lost to the MC, but he wiped out his own soldiers. If the boy spares him, Ghost promises he'll become the ultimate war machine. Even though he doesn't have it on him right then, Liam knows he's got a box packed with treasures somewhere. Liam can practically feel how badly he wants to grab it. Then he vows to put Goza through a brutal interrogation, determined to squeeze out every last secret. A pirate writhes in agony, desperate to scream as a soldier turns to Liam and asks if they're really going to capture that man, and he gets invited in and the MC immediately drills him. His soldier snaps back, "Not exactly," because he's already wiped out a ton of there. Liam snaps, asking if this is why they're hunting Goza's life, and the boy blurts that he heard the Empire would pay them even more if they brought Goza back alive, all by themselves. His soldier snaps back that when it's time to collect, it doesn't matter if he's breathing or buried, as long as Liam proves he took care of him. Liam then spots a wanted poster with a fat reward for the pirate, and in pure panic he tries to beg for his life. But Liam snaps, tells the guy to stop harassing him, and then finishes him off, once and for all once. Goza's head is dropped on the ground, left lifeless in a spreading pool of blood. He suddenly realizes Go's skin has changed right before their eyes. Then the boy grabs the pirate's head with his own hands and asks if this is really the proof they crushed Go, and one of his soldiers answers by thrusting a bag into his arms. Another soldier steps in, announces the ship is finally cleaned, and the boy snaps. "So, does that mean it's all over?" Then he yanks the question out of him, who's the one tied up beside his soldier. The man answers coldly. The pirates call him the Creator, and now they're itching to drag him straight to the place where the pirates stash their prisoners. To escape, Liam shoves the complaining man aside. Right before the MC steps into the room, his soldiers promise they'll sweep the place and confirm it's safe. Then the prisoner pipes up, insisting everything inside is his personal gear, and they've got to keep it untouched. Liam yells his name, and the man explains he's the one everyone credits with caring for beasts and creatures. Then Liam asks, "Wait, is there a dog around?" The man grins so wide behind the glass, it practically steals the whole moment. He says that once that happens, Liam's a dog lover, so he can take any of them and reshape them into whichever dog he wants. The man shoots Liam a sharp look, asking if he wants the dog to obey, or if he actually wants a wild animal instead. Seriously, our MC is totally thrown by that dialogue, and then out of nowhere, men get yanked from the hall, screaming these weird, awful sounds. Liam demands what's inside, and the soldier snaps that it's safer if he doesn't go in. Then Liam fires back, too late, because now he's burning with curiosity to see what's in there. The bespectacled man claims that place is his lab, and that his helper only went along because it's his hobby. So Liam's about to find a whole treasure trove of stuff that'll blow his mind. His soldiers start fizzing with anger, snapping and cursing that old man, while he coldly replies that his subordinates just don't share the Lord's refined taste. Still, he swears Liam is going to adore what waits inside, because the sheer brilliance of body modification is absolutely magnificent. Before the old man gets another word out, Liam lunges in and slashes him with a sword. Half his head drops to the ground with a sickening splat into the puddle. Liam grimaced and muttered that he feels absolutely disgusting. Then the MC burst into the room, and it hit you. Cages everywhere, towering huge tubes, and a creature already clawing its way out of one of them. A dark voice bursts out of it and demands what happened to Goas, blaming it on the way Goa twists and distorts their hobbies. Seriously, Liam claims he handled the pirate, and even the Creator too. Then the girl who'd been smiling just a second ago suddenly widens her eyes in pure shock. Then she lowers her voice and tells him, with relief in every word, it's finally over. The soldiers recoil in disgust at what those caged creatures spit out, claiming they don't know Liam at all. Yet if he's got even a shred of compassion, he'd better throw that door open and save them. The MC asks if this is really what they want him to do, and the thing warns that they might not be able to live as humans anymore, but it wants them to keep going. "Get out of there now!" Liam freezes for a split second, staring at the order as it sinks in. Then he promises he'll save them, on one condition. They have to pay him back somehow, so that thing scrambles, and Liam roars at them to get a doctor fast and yank those creatures out of there. It starts shrieking, furious and terrified, begging for Liam to end its life, and kill the others too, once and for all. The soldier says, with a heavy heart, that they can't defy their leader's order. Then he blurts out that they're so sorry, while the creature sobs, so they yank themselves out of that dark room, leaving it trapped behind them. Liam clocks those hobbies as truly vile and terrifying, and he can't help but wonder if they're even happy while ruining beautiful women and men. Then a soldier leans in and demands, "So are you really going to help them? To save them, you've got to start from scratch and rebuild everything." Liam shoots back, "Can we really do that?" And the man grins, "Yes, but the elixirs can get dangerously tricky. Expensive, period. Because this elixir can heal anything in that fantasy world, and with so few of it left, the Empire slaps on outrageous prices to cash in." Liam takes one look and realizes a tiny elixir should be enough for him. Then the soldier snaps back that it won't cut it, because they're going to need doctors and gear too. And yeah, this kind of recovery won't happen overnight. It'll take years of grueling therapy, cost a fortune, and when Liam was begged to step in and save them, they didn't just want help, they wanted something else too. The boy insists he gets it, and then, bam, he feels this sudden warmth of generosity in his chest, like he's saying it never hurts to be kind. After that, in Banfield House territory, Liam and his crew stormed back to the celebration, where the whole population was already roaring with joy. Brian erupts in tears, shaking with emotion as the boy comes back alive. Amagi blurted it all without holding back. He said he turned into that mess because he never believed Liam could actually win. Then the kid shot a question to Brian, "Is that really what happened?" And the butler flat out denied it. The maid blurts that a message came from the capital, offering Liam a reward for wiping out the pirates. And the moment the words hit, the young man snaps, "Wait, is that what my guide meant?" Then the trade center and the 7th Weapons Factory reached out, demanding talks to seize the pirates' treasures and their ships. Engineer Nese Carlin is determined to grab every last piece from those ships, and with all those rare metals in hand, he's probably aiming to cash in too. Liam starts to. So he lays it out right away. First things first, he's set on talking to Tom. After that, he heads straight into a tense meeting with the merchant. Liam grins and calls the merchant wicked, while Thomas insists the price was fair. Then the boy shrugs and says it's fine, because he's been dying to say it for ages. Somehow, they still manage to sell most of the treasures from Goa. Because of that, they can wipe out their debts with room to spare. Liam even hands the doctor decision to Thomas, and Thomas nods along, then asks just one thing. How much will the boy bring for his ceremony? The young man shrugs and says his schedule's packed, so he'll come next year. While Thomas pounds the table and promises he'll be there for the ceremony, sure he hasn't forgotten the boy's little treasures. His yellow candies, and Liam can't wait to see those bars of gold right in front of him. The MC grins with pure joy and declares the merchant is just as wicked, and just as cunning as he feared. The Algranda Empire, that's what they call the capital. The place that rules the entire galaxy. The whole capital is ringed by rare liquid metals, even the sky is artificially controlled, and giant space elevators plunge down to the surface, where a massive population of 10 billion calls it home. Inside a fancy building, someone grips their cape tight, like they're about to step into the spotlight. Liam blurts out, "Isn't that a little too much?" But Amagi snaps back, "I'm not going overboard, this is the Emperor we're meeting and everyone's going to be watching." Just then, the door swings open and someone walks in. Two couples close in, and the man blurts that he hasn't laid eyes on Liam in ages. The boy looks totally lost and blurts out, "Who are you?" The man blurts that it's been ages since they last saw each other, and honestly, it makes total sense that the boy wouldn't recognize him. Still, the main character keeps stumbling through life, clueless about who they truly are. Amagi points at 4 people and declares 2 are his parents. Then he flips the script and calls the other 2 his grandparents. Liam remembers it. Those were the same people who ditched his territory and left him drowning in debt. Liam's mom, Darcy Banfield, says he's a natural at cracking jokes, but his dad, Cliff Banfield, can't help asking if Liam has really forgotten them. Then Darcy admits she caught him still clutching the toy they once gave him, even though he doesn't need it anymore, and insists they should just throw it away. Liam suddenly starts to worry about that Amagi. His family freezes and stares him down, and right then Amagi says, "I'll wait in a separate room." Even so, the MC shrugs it off and tells her straight up, "No need to worry, just stay right there." Then he fires back with one question. What does his father really want from him? Cliff Banfield wastes no time. He says he's heard Liam's about to get a huge prize and now he wants his share. Next thing you know, they're buried in debt even in the capital, so the whole plan becomes simple. Make the boy jack up his allowance. The boy's grandfather leans in and tells everyone he's beyond proud of his grandson. Liam grabs Amagi and orders her to send the guests home fast. The four get kicked out, and the door slams shut right in front of them, while the boy's parents blow up, demanding how he even dares to do that to them. The boy fumes because his parents demand more money, but Amagi shuts it down fast. No need to worry, he owes them nothing, and now the whole thing gets painfully awkward. Then, he suggests they boost the allowance and cut ties at the same time, because if they mess this up, that kid's name could get stained forever. Liam told her to start the paperwork and promised to foot every cost, and right away Amagi shot back that she'd handle it. The top hat man is drowning in trouble, and it's getting worse by the second. Rage and pain crush him, and he pins it all on Liam, because right then he's too drained to even step across the worlds. And since he got in way over his head with that bastard, all his gratitude gets aimed straight at. The guide huffs and rages, swearing he'll never, ever forgive the boy. Then he hears Liam's parents bickering behind a locked door. The whole family's in there, snapping and bickering, and the man in the top hat grins like, "Oh yeah, this is exactly what I wanted." Good, right then, the boy's own family turns into his enemy. Amagi barrels down the corridors, leaving echoes in his wake. Right before that, Liam leaned in and asked if she truly wasn't showing up for the ceremony, and the maid warned him bluntly that it could come back to bite him hard. The boy snaps that he doesn't care, but she pushes harder, trying to. Then it clicks. Amagi strides through the corridors, and right there, she hears someone calling out. A voice cuts in, saying Liam isn't useful to them right now. They start grumbling right away, snapping that bringing an android into their lives is shameful, and they demand something, anything, to fix it. Voices tremble with doubt, wondering if ending Liam's life is truly the best answer, while Amagi stands outside, shoulders slumped, hit hard by the weight of it. Listening in, she realizes it's time. She's done waiting for the boys to move first, and she decides to leave their life for good. Meanwhile, at the ceremony, the crowd erupts in applause for Liam, saluting the Supreme Lord of the Cap. Confetti explodes in the air because this celebration is absolutely huge. Meanwhile, Liam's father scrambles to argue with His Excellency, demanding they stop changing the family title again. The man in front of him smirks and says, "This already happened, so why in the world would we do it again?" Cliff Banfield fires off a furious question. Did that boy really dare to smuggle an android into the palace? And is the man trying to drag the Banfield family straight into disgrace? Then the man starts grilling the question, shouldn't Liam's win over the pirates and his protection of the territory count for something? And he points out there's nothing in the rules stopping someone from marching around with their robots. There. Friends, indignant, Cliff Banfield erupts, yelling that this could turn dangerous and the man needs to think again. Then His Excellency lets out a deep, heavy sigh. He claims Liam finally wiped out the neglected debt, and now the Empire is watching, ready to demand big contributions from him in the future. Cliff Banfield swears that when he comes back, he'll finally handle his tax duties and obligations. Then the man shoots back. "So you want me to believe you this time, after you've never paid a single tax?" And it trails into the next beat. They point out a huge gap between Cliff Banfield and his son, and for the Empire, the boy is far more valuable. With a glare sharp enough to cut, the man snaps at Cliff Banfield that if he were in his shoes, he'd act better, because he just wants to live in the capital in peace. Far from there, Liam leans in and grills Amagi about whether the basket parties are really happening. Usually, yeah. He's totally lost, staring around in confusion, and then Amagi slips in to pet the boys. She leans in close, asks if he didn't like it, and the boy blurts out that he was completely caught off guard. He's finally grown into adulthood, and Amagi has been serving him for nearly 40 years, yet the boy swears it feels like no time at all. Then he snaps, asking why she's dropping that out of nowhere. Amagi starts to explain, and it only gets more intense. Then she snaps that she doesn't think she should keep standing by the boy's side. The Empire's already been wrecked by robots, and she's about to drag her master's name through the mud. Liam can't believe the joke he's hearing, and Amagi straight up tells him dead serious that this isn't funny, it's the real deal. This is so her master stays healthy and stays safe. Liam's buried trauma explodes back to the surface, like a memory that won't let him breathe, because he suddenly recalls his wife from a past life telling him she loved him and wanted to stay at his side forever. In the end, she just left him behind with their daughter, and Liam shoots up fast, then blasts the question, is Amagi really about to ditch him too? Fuming, the boy demands to know if she's really about to ditch him, and whether she truly hates standing at his side. Then he blurts out that he finally gets it. Even robots can't stick with him. She spins her face away and Amagi snaps back. That's not true. The time she spent with him felt like the best days of her life until the truth hits. She has to leave for a reason, like preparing his successor. She scrambles to explain it, but Liam just won't get it. He roars that she'll do exactly what he says. Then he snaps, saying it's an order, and she has to stay right beside him. With tears streaming down his face, Liam tells them his order has to come first, no matter what. Amagi says, if that's an order, then I'll obey, no questions asked. Liam realizes, too late, that he should have said it from the start because she can't ever walk away from him. Amagi turns to the boy and praises him, right there. Liam tells her it's always been just the two of them, and he dodges every question about Brian, because when the boy talks, he makes it clear he's talking about something else entirely. With bright excitement in her eyes, Amagi declares she'll stay glued to the MC's side for as long as she possibly can. Her whole world lit up in a brutal fireball, then someone yelled her name, Christiana, the Night Princess. She lost everything, her family and the people of her territory too. Christiana snapped at Goa, insisting he'd kept his promise, but the pirate captain just shrugged it off like it didn't matter, that he'd slam the door on his whole world and never look back. Thanks to Christiana's people, he dragged the truth out and pieced together everything he needed about her. In the real world, evil never really dies, it just waits. Christiana was convinced that one day, someone with the power to take down Goas would finally show up. Even after being twisted and tortured, she still clung to hope that she'd manage to appear. Christiana snaps her eyes open. A girl standing ahead of her blurts out, asking if she's finally gotten her con back. Consciousness snaps back and the girl blurts out, "Where am I?" When she hears her own voice, it's no longer strange or hoarse like before. The woman standing over her smiles and tells her, "You're finally seeing the real Christiana with your own eyes." Then out of nowhere, a mirror materializes in front of the girl, and she stares straight at her own reflection. Then the doctor leans in and lays it out. Christiana's whole body got rebuilt with a regeneration treatment, and it took real time, too, so when it's over, she can barely accept that her body is back to how it was. The doctor finally admits they've saved him with an elixir, and the girl snaps, "Why would you waste something that precious on someone like me?" Then the doctor leans in and says, "We only did what was necessary." But for Christiana's body to fully snap back to how it was, she's going to need serious rehab, lots of it. Christiana can't contain her excitement, as she vows she'll do whatever it takes. It all feels like a dream you can't wake up from, but no. This is reality, and it still needs fixing. She gets restless and blurts, "Who did this for me?" Then she bears the truth. She used to be royalty, but with her world in ruins, she can't repay the kindness. When she tries to rise, the doctor snaps, "Calm down. This wasn't a mistake at all. She won't be charged for her treatment, because the Banfield continent already footed the bill in advance, and the one who did this was none other than the Lord himself, who personally treated everyone trapped on the pirate." She's stunned, speechless for a beat. Then shock crashes over her when she realizes he didn't just treat her, he treated everyone. The doctor tells her the Lord says he'll repay the favor himself. So right then, Christiana has to lock in on healing her body and calming her mind. The girl still remembers Liam promising he'd save her, then cutting off because she needs to go. The favor so unreal. She can barely accept that it was that same boy who saved her, and the doctor confirms it. The only message Liam ever sent was exactly that. Meanwhile, at the boy's house, Brian strides up and drops the news. Those treatment reports say everything is going right. All right, Liam stares, totally thrown off, and then Brian blurts out. Liam must have completely wiped it from his mind. Didn't he actually choose to stockpile an insane amount of supplies for the people trapped on that pirate ship? But now the word is this. Everyone's recovering, and in just a few years, they'll be back to 100%. Most of them got wiped out of their own planets, and since they're still insanely capable, there's zero reason to throw them out of the place they can finally call home. Liam can't stop grinning, and it's all because those people are drop-dead gorgeous and wildly fascinating. Liam grips Gaz's box and swears he snagged it from the pirate captain's things, and when Brian hears that, he straight up says he knows something about that very item. The butler leans in and admits that, when he was younger, he used to live as an adventurer. Meanwhile, he stared at the box's strange descriptions, straight out of a fairy tale, because it could turn any lifeless thing into pure gold. Absolutely anything that is alive, Liam gets. He's grinning, asking if that means he can grab every last coin of gold he wants. Then Brian. Even so, it's always felt like a fairy tale. until someone actually gets the real thing, and then Banfield House could wipe out every problem in the blink of an eye. Liam wonders if they should even hunt for it, and right then, Brian quickly moves in. Then he snaps at the boy to knock it off, because this mess is on him, and he's the reason the band's in trouble. Fieldhouse Liam's stomach drops with nerves, but he forces himself to nod and agrees anyway. In his room, the MC sinks into thought, staring at that box like it might be the real deal, if only he dares to find out. If it really worked like that, he'd just pop the lid, speak his own word, and flip it on himself. So the boy grabs his old katana and puts it to the test. He pries open the box, then speaks a chant, demanding the blade transform into gold. Suddenly, a weird symbol flashes right in front of him. Inside the education capsule, he studies ancient writings, then locks in a choice that lets him change form. Suddenly, the katana feels way heavier in his hands when he... Wait, this place is pure gold, like every inch is screaming wealth. That's when Liam finally gets why Go was so loaded, and then he snaps back to what his guide warned him about. Because of the man in the top hat, he's sitting on a fortune so endless it feels like it'll never run out. Meanwhile, his guide is writhing in excruciating pain, because Liam's gratitude hits like a punch. All of his powers are draining out of him, one by one. The man plots to end the boy's life, then make him choke on pain and bitterness first. Meanwhile, the MC drifts off in sweet peace, cuddling his glowing katana in hand, and that top hat man is packed with pure raging fury. Brian is falling apart, and the tears won't stop. He says it feels impossible to put into words, watching Liam turn into an adult on his 50th birthday. Day's not even over when Liam corners Amagi and demands to know what he's got to handle today. The maid snaps, "You've got just 1 hour left until the coming-of-age ceremony, then the parties start non-stop." And Brian warns him again that Liam's next day is right after that, too. The place is totally booked solid. Then the boy snaps, saying he doesn't want it, but Brian shuts him down. There's literally no choice left. Outside the door, a girl is waiting, right there on the edge of something big. She practically bursts with joy as she greets him, and the boy. It's totally stuck for words, so the girl quips that the Lord could pull off literally any outfit and still look amazing. Christiana tore through her rehabilitation in just 1 year, then wasted no time offering herself as his personal knight. He hears she's insanely exceptional, then immediately asks if the girl's ready to jump into work. Christiana just laughs and says, "That won't be a problem." Then she snaps back, saying she has no Imperial Knight qualification, and that means she has to leave that planet right now to go get it. Because she came from another continent, she doesn't have the right qualification, and to earn it, she has to graduate from at least 2 institutions, a process that drains around 30 years. With her heart brimming, Christiana declares, "I'll do everything I can for the Lord and chase those qualifications." Having girls this incredible writing beside him is pure prestige, and on top of that, he's got a massive mansion to live in and cash to burn like tomorrow doesn't exist. Staring at his own house, Liam realizes it's ballooned into something absolutely massive. Meanwhile, at the ceremony, everyone showed up dressed to impress, looking sharp as weapons. Thomas stares in awe and realizes the Lord's taste is insanely refined, because this whole place is built entirely from gold. With a grin on his face, Nias Carlin nods along and reveals that Liam apparently cares more about function than looks. And on top of that, the place swarms with big-shot guests, huge merchants hunting for fresh deals, and even whole groups from other weapon factories taking up space. Thomas shrugs at the fact that the big-name aristocrats in the crowd don't scare him, but the neighboring lords? This is the moment they mark as the start of a brand-new powerhouse house. And for Liam, being a lord at his age isn't exactly something to cheer about. Meanwhile, the noble houses lay out their plan to put Lord Liam on trial, because they need to know if he's truly worth backing or not, and that's when something grabs Thomas's attention. It's Christiana, one of the first rescued by Liam to bounce back fast, and Nias Carlin can't help wondering if Liam saved her only because she's stunning. Thomas snaps back, saying he can't claim that's true, because he's watched too many nights roll by to be certain. But then she hits him with a totally different aura. They say she's a legendary knight, but if that's true, she'd be ancient, and honestly, it's probably just a rumor. And if someone that incredible is stepping in to protect Liam, you can bet his future is about to get insanely bright. Liam's Imperial ships surge forward. Cannons blast at enemy targets, the pirate fleet starts to fall back, and the captain turns to Liam to demand what the order is. The boy barks an order at them, wipe out every last enemy. While he's stuck watching from the ship, MC rants that he never even got a shot at leaving to fight himself. Then someone rushes up and yells for him. A girl steps in and asks the young man straight up if he liked the weapons from the third weapon factory. She's Ulysses Muracil, the tech officer behind everything, and Liam swears he's clocked a few things that need fixing. But hey, even then she's still above the competition. Ulysses Morrison claimed they cranked up the performance and reshaped the design, betting it would hit the mark for Liam. Eager as can be, the boy blurts that he'll buy them all, and the girl lights up with pure excitement. Then the Empire lets Banfield House take hold of a terrifyingly efficient, powerful weapon, and he can't stop wondering who'd build it, until he finally lands on the third factory as the best bet. Ulysses Morrison leans in and asks Liam if he's got an idea. Then the boy starts to talk, and right as he does, someone bursts into the hall. It's Nia Carlin, boiling with anger at the boy. Nia Carlin claims Liam promised to grab those armored weapons from the 7th factory, but Liam fires back, saying the only thing worth anything there is Nia Carlin. Then the girl bristles and gets offended. Ulysses Morrison greeted Nia Carlin, then straight up told her she couldn't wrap her head around how a weirdo like her ended up running the sales for that factory. Paul tells Elijah Morrison she's been promoted to captain, and the moment the words land, they both lock eyes, rage sparking between them. Liam blurts out that they've clearly been in each other's lives for ages. Ulysses Morrison tells everyone, yeah, we know each other, but only like passing ships, because they keep running into each other at negotiation after negotiation, and even though Nia Carlin is a genius engineer, her sales skills are straight up awful. She's absolutely furious, yelling that she personally sold tons of products pulled straight from the factory, and her numbers have only soared year after year. Liam can't help but be genuinely impressed. Ulysses Morrison lets out a chuckle and says those numbers only climbed because of Liam. Turns out the other houses aren't landing any of his products. The MC fires back, asking if any of that's even true, and Nia Carlin scrambles to claim they're improving the work for Banfield House, only for the boy to cut in that they aren't needed anymore because the enemies are weak. Elijah Morrison clocks it instantly. No coincidences, just pure speed. Because that kid fought pirates with a fleet of thousands of ships, but even then, Liam still isn't satisfied with the numbers on the page, and right then, the boy decides he's done dreaming. He wants to grow his fleet and is planning to buy fresh ships from Ulysses, and the girl lights up, thanking him with pure excitement. Carlin calls Liam over and tells him, loud and clear, that she's already informed her superiors. The contract is officially closed, and then she drops to the ground and practically begs him, smiling, that she'd be thrilled if he'd buy some fleets from her. Bigger ships meant only one thing for her: more power, more options, and a better shot at what she wanted. Liam watches the girl in silence, then drops, "I'm buying 100 ships from Nia Carlin," and she thanks him like it just saved her world. As Nia Carlin sets the order, the captain strides up to Liam and announces, straight up, that the pirates have been wiped out. The boy snaps and tells them to grab every last thing that's been left behind. No excuses, not a single item forgotten. Then they blast back to the Banfield House's space fortress. Amagi and 2 other girls burst into happy cheers, welcoming him back like he never left. She tells him, "You don't get to make me greet you every single time you come back." Amagi leans in and tells Liam to rethink his spot in the world, and Liam immediately pleads, "Please don't be mad at me," while the maid shakes her head and says she isn't angry at all. The boy smirks and says the enemy's so weak they're basically nothing, just a few little insects. Amagi nods like she gets it, but she warns them, don't mess around with those pirates. Even so, Liam is still hunting for a real worthy opponent, one that can push him to his limits. Amagi cuts in and says that's going to be a problem, and the boy immediately fires back. Why? She tells him that everyone across the territory already whispers about him as the pirate hunter, like it's a legend now. So Liam starts panicking, because that can only mean the pirates are staying out of his way. The boy realizes hunting pirates is the exact cash machine keeping their profits rolling. There's no way they can afford to fail. The maid leans in and tells him, clear as day, that this is exactly the kind of news he should be thrilled to hear. The territory's been running like clockwork. Better yet, even without hunting pirates, their money keeps pouring in. With the wreckage they haul in from enemy ships, they can mint gold to their heart's content. And Amagi points the boy to the exact resources they're still missing. The MC yanks out his magic box, snaps it open, and thrusts it out in front of him. Then boom, a wave of magic crashes through everything and flips it all around. Those scraps snap into valuable treasures, and Liam nods like, all right, it's all ready. You gather all the space junk drifting out there, turn it into useful resources, and sell it for cold, hard cash. Liam pushes Amagi and demands to know if they can finally wipe out every single debt, because he wants this nightmare gone for good, like right now. Amagi says, if I wipe out the whole debt, they'll finally figure out I've got a way to print endless money, and that's when the box's secret comes to light. So yeah, it's not time to pick that yet. Amagi leans in and asks Liam straight up if, by any chance, he went and bought an absurd stash of weaponry. He got word from the 3rd and 7th weapon factories, and the boy couldn't help but wonder, was his choice really the right one? Amagi snaps that she won't spill what her master can or can't do, even if it means they might miss out on leveling up their fleets, and Liam jumps in saying they should trade off all the old gear. But then his maid steps in, warning that it'll just saddle them with extra headaches, and the boy needs to stop this kind of plan before it turns into trouble. The MC admits he can't stop buying on impulse, and Amagi tells him to rein it in. Then the MC asks if they've finally picked the house he'll train in. He goes quiet for a beat, then snaps back that none of this has been settled yet. The MC snaps that the choice has to be made fast. Overthinking it gets you nothing, and then lays it out. Nobles spend years training before they're considered adults, and the very first move is picking a whole new noble house to train under. Because of what the Banfield house has done in the past, nobody will touch its people. So they've been cast out and left stranded away from noble society, and right then, Brian and Amagi are scrambling to rebuild trust with the other houses from scratch. Amagi points out that Brian is still hunting down the best move, and right then, all they can do is sit tight and wait. After a while, Brian bursts in and tells Liam, I found it, the perfect house for you to train. The boy furrows his brow and demands to know where this house is supposed to be. Brian snaps that it doesn't look like he's even interested in any of this, and the MC fires back. He's heard this training is just for building bonds between houses, because after a few years, he'll be handed off and cared for by some other nobility. The butler grumbles that the Razzle house he found isn't just some fancy hall. It's where real-life training gets put to work for real, built on rare minerals and ruthless tech processing. And because they only take 10 youngsters a year, they're famous for turning training dreams into something you can actually use. Liam scans the area and realizes every house around them has stalled, yet they've only just started taking in immigrants. Then Amagi points out the Banfield house is blowing up, expanding at breakneck speed. They've got to crank up the effort to shape that territory, because the kid's already getting curious about all the entertainment hiding there. Amagi tells him, right then and there, to jump back into the education capsule for a little while. As the boy crashes into sleep, Amagi holds the reins and runs everything. Brian grumbles, begging for a bigger role, but the boy doesn't budge, only orders him to keep working in total silence. Meanwhile, inside the Razel premises, Randolph snaps that this year's applications are a total waste, and he says it's not even worth building ties with any noble house anymore. Those useless houses are barely even worth a mention, until one guy brings up that the Exmer house is trying to send their older kids for training this year. Randolph watches them line up gifts and even weigh the applicant's skills, but he can't shake the feeling. He doesn't want to build ties with any up-and-coming houses. Even so, the Exmer heir's skills are top tier, yet Randolph couldn't care less. He only cares about the bond he can forge with a house, because a connection to a house is pure power and all that personal strength, it doesn't matter. Randolph isn't alone. There's a man in a top hat looming right behind him. He freezes in place, and then realization hits like lightning. This is his moment. Finally, his revenge window is here. He's set on hijacking the group's database, but his power isn't strong enough, so he decides to swap Liam's data with someone else's, and one guy in the crowd spots the mismatch. They flat out agree Liam is the worst choice. And on top of that, their house is crumbling under financial ruin, stacked with debt so massive they can't pay a single cent. Razel should feel ashamed for even daring to file his application to start a relationship with the house, because Randolph says they already promised to accept Liam's application, and the Hanfield gifts have already landed, so there's no excuse now for botching how they treat him. These are the kind of houses that print profits, so they can't afford to say no. Then a girl snaps wide-eyed and blurts for Randolph to check one data point. As he shows it to the boy, his eyes widen and he blurts, "This is insane." He didn't just get the power. At 5 years old, he seized leadership of the house, crushed the debts with ruthless skill, wiped out pirate troops, and even grabbed rewards from the Empire, making that house a force of pure nobility and serious muscle. For the Razel house, this move is the smartest way to forge stronger ties. Randolph even starts toying with the idea of offering his daughter to be his bride. Liam, he can barely hold himself back, counting down the days until next year finally arrives at the Razel spaceport. The sky fills with incoming shipments, one after another. One of the guards blurts out that this is the first time he's ever seen so many gifts come pouring in from a noble house. And the ship hauling all this stuff. It's cutting edge too, plus that PTAC house is an absolute steal. Meanwhile, the Banfield house rolled in with just a handful of ships, and somehow managed to forget gifts altogether. No manners, no respect. The guards can't help but wonder why they even let that fool inside like that. Meanwhile, the man in the top hat grins as he watches it all unfold, completely content. Randolph Razzle gets approached, and as soon as the stranger steps in, they greet him. It is. Peter Sarapidak steps in and swears that from this moment on, he'll be under their care. Randolph can't hide his grin. This news has him practically glowing with satisfaction. He greets Peter warmly, beams that it's a real pleasure to have him, and tells him to take a breather. He's gotta be exhausted from that journey. The very next day, they're throwing a banquet just to roll out the red carpet for him. Peter grins and leans in to tell his staff to take. Randolph nods instantly, agrees, and promises to escort him straight to his quarter so he can finally rest. The man blurts that he wants to introduce Peter to his daughter, and the boy fires back. So, is she beautiful? He gushes that she's lovely, and then hits you with the real truth. She's his most precious treasure. Randolph's pulling out his secret weapon, his daughter, to get Peter back on track and force him to grind for the Razel house. Meanwhile, Liam finally reaches his quarters and finds a nearly deserted double room waiting in silence. A tough brute snaps that their training kicks off right that day, then roars at everyone who shows up. No excuses, no hesitation. They're not here to play host. They're here to train, so he lays out the rules before anything else. It grumbles that he's stuck in a room for two and mocks him for guessing how many gifts his family has shoved into the kingdom. Then the man just shuts it down, tells the boys to stop wasting their breath and save it for training, and orders them to change clothes. Liam stares at it, stunned, because this looks nothing like what he pictured in his head. Liam dreamed this training would come with pure luxury, even sending gift after gift to the Razel family. Meanwhile, Brian ditched his prized bonsai to make it happen. That bonsai wasn't just precious, it was the most valuable thing he owned. Brian tended that tree for hundreds of years, and it crushed the competition, winning countless trophies and becoming priceless. Still, the MC can't shake the thought that maybe the training is just incredibly. Right, the Viscount. Randolph is the exact opposite of Liam, and he's painfully virtuous too. The instructor roars that starting tomorrow, every single morning, they'll be forced to practice running. Liam clocks that his roommate is ex-Ner from the Baron house, and that tells him something huge. He's got the power to outdo him. Kurt ex-Ner tore off his old clothes and slipped into a fresh set. He clocks Liam's presence and whips around to the other side in a flash. The MC sits back and thinks, how am I always finding a way to get under his skin? A whole month slips by while they're stuck in this TR. Every single day starts with brutal physical training. Then the classes begin. Then they dive into the house staff's chores, because once you do it, you finally get why it matters. And this same grind comes back every single day, driving Liam more bored than he's ever been. All day long, he's been drilling with a sword every morning, so what he's doing right now feels like outright slacking to him. And the best part, he never has to mess with maids or deal with pesky guests. Ella Sarah Berman grabs her phone, calls Liam, and hammers out, keep going, right after this. The work, out past the window, they spot a stranger cracking up in full view. A bunch of nobles are cracking up together, trading laughs and whipping up wild, fascinating practices, like it's all one big game. Among them is Peter and Randolph's daughter. Ella clocks it fast. Viscount Razel's girl, Katarina, never leaves Peter's side, and Randolph definitely has a soft spot for the. Ella can't stop staring. Peter's house is unreal, and somehow it's evolved so fast it feels like it was built overnight. Somehow he flipped his whole territory on its head, and people swear he even carries a sword school license. He's nowhere near old enough to be a count, yet everyone already piles massive expectations on him. By evolving his territory and getting the sword school license, Peter looks just like the MC. Except here, Liam is the villain, and the other guy is set to become a future benevolent lord. Liam clocks the Razor House probably figured out how ruthless he is and grills Ella. Be honest, am I really that bad? Ella tells the boy, don't beat yourself up, this is everyone's situation. But he shoots back that someone like her, living on the other side, feels kind of weird. She claims she's the third daughter of her family, and swears her older brother will run the whole place, because she's only there to keep peace with the Razor House. He clocks it instantly, she's right. Disquel chico es increíblemente amable por haberse piedado de ella, aunque penas. The MC clocks it instantly. Every single person on that Razzle House side is battling something of their own. So yeah, Ella is his ally, and anyone who got treatment like the one he received is in the same boat too. It wouldn't hurt if he started making friends there, really putting himself out there. Kurt's one of the boys living with Liam, but man, their bond is falling apart fast. Kurt barely glances at Liam before looking away. The MC snaps that the boy drives him insane, and he outright hates him. Ella's smile vanishes, and she says in a deadly quiet voice that he can't hate her. The girl starts to get riled up, insisting they need to build a real bond since they're already sharing the same room, and Liam fires back that if Kurt decides to drop his head to him, the boy might just consider it. Ella stays completely silent for a beat, like she's weighing every word before they're even spoken. Then she leans in and tells me Liam's seriously self-obsessed, like everything's always about him. Whoa, then their coach blows a whistle and yells that today they're starting martial arts training, and even if it's just practice, he makes it clear they cannot drop their guard. Swords and all kinds of brutal weapons get handed to the young kids, ready for them to prove themselves. They get to pick any they want, and then they've got to train with whoever shares the same room. Liam snatches a shock sword right then. Kurt the MC's eyes widen as he realizes the kid just grabbed a weapon just like his. Kurt admits he can't hold back and warns he'll probably end up hurting Liam. The MC leans in and says the kid doesn't even realize what he's capable of, then drops the bomb that he's licensed in the single-strike style, and Kurt cuts in. He doesn't recognize it at all, so he blurts out, asking if it's some kind of school. Liam smirks and says that kid looks even more determined. The coach roars, "Start now," and right on cue Liam snatches his sword and bolts into action. Even so, Kurt grits his teeth and counters, right when it counts. Defend himself, the MC is freaking out, his guard is already breaking. The two boys drift apart, like the world just ripped a thread between them. Right now, Kurt managed to stay right on top of his every move. Everyone's eyes are glued to Kurt as he blurts out an apology, admitting he never should have underestimated Liam's skill. Turns out their relationship is finally heating up. The coach roars at them to stop slacking off and stand up to do something. No more just standing there doing nothing. Kurt finishes his training and jumps straight into a hot shower to wash off the grind. If you're betting your whole life on your house shining, you're nobody. His father forged his nobility with sheer skill, and from the day Kurt was born, he's been grinding to earn a license. He's not trying to be flashy or pretentious, but somehow he's still the one. He got clipped, then just in time he caught Liam's strike in his guard. He told himself it was going to be a boring, run-of-the-mill lesson, just like always. But Liam looks like he's got a few lessons waiting, and Liam will deliver them. He laughs and says taking 60% of the profits as fees is downright cruel. He doesn't even do that himself. But Kurt snaps back that this isn't a valid reason. Liam begged the boy, "Don't be mad at me, okay?" Because that extra house was brand new, and sure, they had a few territories, but they had zero clue how to use any of them. And no matter how much money they scraped together, they still have zero idea how to handle the. So they shipped him there to deal with it, but surprise, the training's basically the same as every other place. They push to protect the people's health first, yet those brutal government rules crush everything and the basics. They don't even have a clue. Sam clocks Kurt's awful training spot, and Kurt reluctantly admits Sam's right. Still, for his family's sake, he has to learn what he can there. Liam realizes he can show Kurt a bunch of tricks, because it's all about the fees and figuring out how to handle the crowd. Kurt goes completely speechless after the MC drops that suggestion. Liam warns that the administration has to be handled with care, because if he skims 60% of everyone's profits, there won't be a single cent left for them to grow. Kurt clocks that his father already had the idea, and Liam fires back that the real reason Kurt acts like the boy is simple. He's draining so much money from his own population. The MC says straight up that stealing from people who have got money feels way better than trying to take it from the broke. You've got to fatten up the castle first, even if it's a pain to pull off. Liam blasts out that Kurt can drain the population again once he makes them powerful, and that the kid has to stay patient until. Even so, no matter what he does, military power keeps him on a leash, and he can never, ever drop his guard. Kurt looks around Liam's land and realizes everything's running smoothly, and Liam just smirks. That's why people call me an expert. Kurt's continent is carved out of nothing but poverty, poor souls piled together, even after the Empire's tributes keep scraping them raw. With no fame and no name, he believed no noble family would ever lift a finger for them. And still, somehow, Kurt held on to hope. The boy blurts that right then, they can barely do a thing, and their whole territory is hanging by a thread. Watching Liam, he swears this is the moment everything could finally go right. The MC tells everyone he's going to reform the military. No fancy spending needed. Just smart, low-maintenance gear that keeps working without breaking the bank. Kurt says he wants to do it too, but they don't have the resources, and the population's already maxed out. Liam snaps that they're basically draining every last person dry. Kurt snaps that there aren't any choices left, and Liam fires back. Then borrow the money, trust me, I'll get you the right contacts. He tells Kurt he can message his private merchant for him, and the kid immediately asks, "Are you sure, Liam? Because if they can't cough up the money, then Banfield House is the one that'll pay the price." Liam shrugs and says that kind of money is nothing to him, and he grins at how Kurt. And look at them, those wicked lords have to band together or everything falls apart. Kurt can't believe Liam can call himself an evil lord. Sure, he's incredible and fighting tooth and nail, but Kurt still feels it's plain cruel. Kurt finally admits it. He wants to become exactly like Liam. The boys reach across and lock in a handshake, right there like it's a promise. Together they go from almost to unstoppable. Liam pushes back, saying they've got to talk about the conditions in Kurt's territory too. Then the boy snaps, "I want to talk to my father first." The MC nods right along, promising he'll get in touch with. While they're busy with their daily grind, Ella clocks it. Liam and Kurt are actually getting along great. The MC blurts out that he owes the boy an apology for judging him wrong, and Ella lights up, saying she's just glad they're finally getting along. Liam asks how the girl's house is going, offers to help if she needs it, and she shoots back that she doesn't have time to keep up with her family's business. Liam fires off a question to her about Kurt, since he's not married right now, so Ella shoots back that tying the knot with Kurt would be a disaster, and when it's all said and done, only her family gets the final say. Liam blurts out that he's so sorry to her in that moment, but Ella waves it off, telling him she's fine and he doesn't have to hate himself over it. Right then, they spot Katarine with the boy again. The boy swears that nobody will ever find out there. Ella leans in and says she's heard rumors. Katarine is already engaged, and that's wildly bold. Liam nods and jokes that the Viscount Randolph's daughter is nothing if not assertive, like that's just how girls are. Yeah, that's not normal. Most marriages don't start that way, even if people come together anyway, but some folks are polyamorous, and as always, it only works because everyone consents. Liam just points out that this is what happens when marriage is formed without anyone's real will. Ella blasts back, yelling that it's nothing but a lie, because even in noble circles, marriages are often forged out of pure need between houses, not romance, though yeah, some still happen for real love. She lives by one belief: love matters, and with it anything is possible. Ella les sulte que si largan a limper otros lugares, porque leven demasiado tiempo atascados a. No matter how noble a lord is, the crimes still come, and they never quit. Day after day, Viscount Razel's anxiety claws higher and higher, convinced the citizens are about to flip on him. But Liam snaps back that it'll never happen. Still, it's bad that Peter doesn't know any of it. So yeah, these young folks pile into the cafeteria to chow down, and right across from Liam, Kurt takes his seat. The boy says the satellite research and development training is about to kick off, and Liam instantly snaps back that they'll probably grind themselves to death all over again. Then he blurts out whether they'll even let them use heavy industrial equipment for training, because, according to everyone, this is way better than what they're stuck doing right now. Kurt turns to Liam and throws him a huge thank you for helping him tackle all his problems. He swears he'll always give his friend everything he's got, and the boy says it felt like a miracle that they made it through. At the next table, the whole room starts buzzing. People start gossiping like crazy, and Liam and Kurt just look completely lost. Suddenly, Ella strides up and checks on them, asking if Kurt and the other are okay. Kurt spots that the girl is buzzing with excitement more than normal, then leans in and asks, "What happened?" He's saying that all sorts of chaos pops up when they're hunting natural resources for evolution and training in a nearby system, and it only gets worse if they refuse to join her. Kurt shrugs it off and tells Liam he's totally good with it. Liam agrees too, and then Ella's like, "I'm counting on you too when we launch into space." Meanwhile, Peter is sprawled out, fast asleep, claiming he's got a sword school license. Yet he dodges every single risky situation with excuse after excuse. Ever since he became a lord, rumors are flying that he's somehow leveled up his territory in a huge way. But people are still whispering, is it really true? Locked inside a spaceship, lost in the endless void. All the young people pile in and Liam can't miss it. The suit still reeks of sweat, while Kurt practically vibrates with excitement the whole time. Ella snaps, yelling that she can't stand wearing clothes that reek like someone else's scent, and the trainer immediately roars for everyone to shut up, because this is a training session in the middle of an extreme situation. Kurt watches how solving problems without touching a single coin can be an amazing rush, and Ella just shrugs, saying she can't see a thing that needs fixing in that place. Liam bursts out laughing and mocks them both. Then he snaps and asks if they're actually stupid. So yeah, this is a huge problem for House Razzle, and they're telling the boys to dig deep, use their brains, and start making real improvements. So yeah, they never cared about that place at all. And for a guy like him who doesn't give a damn about money, it's just a total waste of time. Ella shoots Liam a look, begging for his attention, but he just refuses to budge like he's locked in place. At every turn, even back at his old job, problems rain down on him. Miss one task and they didn't blame anyone, they just told him to think harder and hustle more. Even so, if you crush it, your boss will still swoop in and steal all the credit. And Liam would love nothing more than to tell that painful truth to his past self. If you truly value what you're doing, then it's worth every second. If you don't, cut your losses and walk away. Liam touches down with the others on a machine, right on a strange plant-like surface. The boy takes one look at the toy and realizes it's way simpler than the robot he's always been stuck using. Turns out Kurt and Ella are doing great too. The trainer says Liam doesn't just talk, and if he wants work, he should come find him. Liam shoots back that if they're trying to fire him, it'll cost a fortune, and later they come back to the... Back at the ground base, Liam and Kurt swing steel and train hard with their swords. Then they crash afterward, totally wiped out. Kurt can't stop wondering, has Liam been training like this since he was a kid? And the boy snaps, that's nothing, my master's training is on a whole other level. With all the chatter swirling around him, Kurt finally can't help but want to meet him. They keep trudging down the hallway when Ella spots them and steps in. Who greets them bright as sunrise. She's practically vibrating with excitement, while Liam snaps, complaining he's sick of it. And the girl blurts, it's fine, like she was seconds away from taking her own shot. With the three of them hanging out together, she's itching to make a move and do something. Kurt grumbles about the clothes they're wearing, but Ella shrugs it off. It's just a video, so I can keep these memories of our group. And then she leans in and snaps all three of them close together. Then she turns, walks away, and right before they're left behind, she thanks the two. Kurt notices something right away. Ella's affection never stops, like it's always pouring out of her. Liam nods along with the guy, completely agreeing like he's locked in. Honestly, there's no point training in that place, but he's smiling anyway because he gets to finally meet the MC thinks he's about to show Amagi those two things. Then it hits him. He totally forgot to make his daily call. The moment he calls, Amagi snaps that she's already told him to stay in regular contact. The boy blurts out that he's drowning in things he has to do, apologizes, and Amagi tells him it's fine, as long as he's okay. She doesn't mind at all. Then Brian leans in and asks if the boy's doing okay, and Liam shrugs, saying there's not much to do, so he's been training by himself. Excited, Brian grins, says that feeling makes him happy, and then he leans in, asking whether the boy's outfit is actually a training uniform. Liam shot back that nope, that's just what they wear every single day. Brian's jaw drops as that news hits like a punch to the gut. Then the MC leans in and demands to know how his territory's holding up. Amagi smiles and says it's all going exactly according to plan. Then she presses him, what does he mean by everyday uniform? And why is he nowhere near the Viscount Razzle's residence, but instead stuck on one of their asteroids? Liam tells them they're here to mine, and then he admits the real truth. Mining is painfully boring, like the whole mission is a joke with bad timing. Brian panics and fires off questions. What does the boy mean, and are they trying to make him work there? Liam answers fast. They told him it's not to hurt him, it's to teach him why work matters. A knock slams the door as a voice yells for the boy, and Kurt snaps that his time is almost up. So he breaks off, says goodbye to Amagi, and Brian, right on the other end, starts shaking with pure agitation, and Amagi rushes to explain that the boy can't hear them anymore, because he's already been. The man stares them down and says, after we sent all those gifts, this kind of treatment is simply unacceptable. Then Brian clocks it and snaps into action. This investigation is a must, and he's not about to forgive anyone for treating them like that. Amagi shoots back that she's totally on board, and vows to dig up everything she can about House Razzle first, and honestly, that promise leaves her feeling way more relieved. It looks like the master is really making friends, and that's what lights up her world, because it makes her. Brian nods along with the maid, and finally, Lord Liam starts making real friends. No matter what, House Razzle can't be forgiven, Amagi promises she'll launch the investigation the moment she can. Kurt sucked in a deep breath. Liam pressed him with questions, and the boy finally admitted he was dealing with problems. Kurt's father got knighted, so of course the whole crowd swoons over him. Yet even in his biggest fan base, there are people who... Extreme, getting knighted turns you into instant royalty. And while they're talking, Kurt's father's name starts flying around the whole territory. Liam is blown away that the boy's father is so famous. He jokes that it's fine if they're just regular fans, until they start snapping photos and filming videos without permission, and chaos erupts all over the house. By then, he'd even tracked down his own face, already spinning around the world. Liam clocked that Kurt carries himself like some kind of idol. His eyes flare bright, like an idea just lit a fuse in his mind. MC tells the boy he can dig into the security stuff later at home, but right now he's got to shift his mindset, because grabbing a priceless photo or video of that noble family is worth the gamble, and if Kurt sells it, he'll rake in a fortune. The boy blurts out, "So you're saying Liam wants me to sell my own family's images? How does that even fix my problem?" Then he points out that since they're fans, people would absolutely gobble up original shots, and if Kurt's father signs off, they could price them sky high and cash in. Those photos could bring in a fortune. Kurt's eyes light up, and he blurts out that he's going to talk to his father about it. Then he turns to Liam and thanks him. Liam makes it crystal clear. Even with everything going on, you've got to keep a close watch on the nearest staff. She giggles, then tells Liam to eat his vegetables, only for him to snap back that he doesn't want any, and he starts offering them to cut off. The boy swears he'll eat them since tossing food is a waste, but Liam really needs to eat too. The MC declares he'd never serve something bitter like that ever again, and Kurt shoots back, yeah, it's not great, but it's not exactly a nightmare either. Something snaps Liam's attention. He whips his head around, staring like, "Am I seeing things or is this real?" It came from Ella. She realized it was right nearby, and she got so fired up she almost blurted everything out, but this still isn't the time. She craves more. Meanwhile, back in a village, Liam and Asushi's master strides through the streets, clearly itching to grab heavy equipment, but he knows he can't do it without a license. Even with exhaustion chewing at him, he still knows exactly how to work that kind of equipment. The man erupts into wild laughter, shouting that he's got experience. Then his stomach growls loud, betraying how hungry he is. Even though he pulls street tricks for cash, it still isn't enough, because he's already sold off everything he can control, and somehow he's still barely getting by. Asushi slams the brakes in front of a bakery window, realizing his hunger is roaring, and just as he stares in, someone bumps right into his shoulder. Asushi blurts out an apology, then the guy who just slammed into him erupts in loud shouting. He slams himself to the ground and blurts that his arm's dislocated, but Asushi waves it off like it's no big deal. One of the man's security guards starts screaming at the boy, asking if Sushi could possibly pay for the treatment. Then the man fires back that it's ridiculous, and the guard snaps at Asushi like he'll wreck it. Suddenly Liam bursts in, talking to the guard whips his head around, eyes wide with shock, and leans in and asks what that boy is talking about. The MC leans in and tells Asushi, "Man, it's been forever since we last saw each other." Liam stands toe-to-toe with the guards, gripping a suit like it's about to change everything. Panic tore through her as she blurted, "How did that boy even end up here?" while the man just stood there. Asushi realizes that if the MC just figured out he lied, then he's probably coming to end his life, so he bolts, running as fast as he possibly can. The guards can't believe the boy claims to be a sushi apprentice, and they snort that the sword in his hand has to be some cheap toy one of them brought. He yanks out a weapon and taunts Liam for underestimating him, swearing he'll toy with the boy. Then the young man swings his sword instead. With his weapon gripped in hand, he doesn't even give them a second. Before they can react, their heads come flying off. And Asushi watches it all unfold, stone-faced, saying nothing, not even flinching. Everyone around him is frozen in shock. Then he finally clocks it. There's no way out. Liam has gotten so much stronger you can practically see it in his muscles the moment he steps in. That smile of his sends the man into pure fear. The boy drops to his knees before the sushi, says it's been forever since he and his master last saw each other, and the sushi somehow tastes ice cold. Then he snaps his posture back into place and greets Liam with a huge smile, saying he's thrilled to see the boy actually doing what. The boy swears he trains every single day, mind stuck on his master non-stop, and Asushi nods like, Liam's technique has clearly leveled up way more than before. The boy's face lights up with pure joy, and he rushes to thank his master. Then the MC fires off a question. What's this guy doing here, and why isn't he holding his sword? He pauses a few beats, weighing exactly what he's about to say. Then the sushi blurts that he's smack in the middle of his journey, and Liam snaps back. Yeah, I know I shouldn't worry, but if he's unarmed, that's plain dangerous. The truth is, that man sold his sword because his money ran dry. But he swears to Liam that he only travels with his clothes. He can't admit he's broke or hunting for work. So when Asashi says he's recruiting new disciples, Liam snaps to attention and gets wildly excited. He tells them, I'm opening a martial arts school right here in my territory, so my master can train the next generation of fighters. The man shuts him down, and Liam's pride snaps, offended to the core. Asashi refuses to go anywhere near that territory since it would put his life on the line, yet he lies through his teeth, claiming he's only hunting for someone who can truly master his technique, not some random student. Liam shoots, so perfection hasn't been reached yet, and the man shuts that down. No, not yet. Then Asashi leans in and says the warrior's road never ends. Liam thinks he's got the guy figured out, then steps in fast, offering his help to serve his master. Even so, Asashi shoots down the offer and insists he's gotta walk that path alone. That's the job of a master of the technique. He has to train with at least 3 disciples, and Liam is totally baffled, like, why is that a requirement? Asashi tells Liam he was his first disciple, so now he's been waiting for the next 2, and the kid has to train all 3 himself. His technique path is locked in, just like Liam's. Maybe one day they'll finally cross paths, but not today. That universe is huge and endless, so if they stop hunting possibilities, the technique stalls. Liam looks around and realizes he's still a beginner, while his master is already miles ahead. Asashi snaps the truth into place. This isn't just his struggle, the MC has to carry the weight and pass it on. He has no choice but to hand that technique to his 3 closest people, so they can train and steer his own disciples. But Liam can't shake the question, can he really pull it off? Asashi claps a hand on the boy's shoulder, grinning as he tells him, You've grown so much, I know you can handle this. With a grin blazing on his face, the MC promises he'll give it everything he's got. Liam watches his master and blurts that, as a disciple, he can't send him off with empty hands, so he starts scrambling for money to make sure he gets everything he needs. Journey inside, Asashi is totally shaken to the core, but out front he keeps a straight face and thanks them. Asashi realizes the young man just wired him a huge chunk of money, and Liam shrugs it off like it's no big deal since he's loaded. Then the security guards close in, claiming the boy is wrecking the peace in the community. Liam tells Asashi to get out of here because he'll deal with it. The guy nods and leaves, and the MC can't help but grin as he blurts out a big goodbye to his math. Then the boy lands in some kind of prison, and as he stares at the walls, he finally realizes those 3 disciples can't be random at all. They're the ones he has to follow to pass his master's exam. A man steps in and bluntly tells Liam that he talks to himself way too much. Then when Liam hears there's a killer on the loose, surprise hits him like a punch. Liam throws out a rushed apology to they. He sucks in a deep breath and steadies himself. The kid's lucky break is that he wiped out a gang the authorities were already hunting, and it makes him wonder if Liam has his own reasons driving him. Then he'll personally deliver the message from Viscount Razzle, who demanded that Liam be locked in a cell for a while to cool off. The boy nods like he gets it, then drops down on the spot and tells everyone he's just gonna relax. Straight up, that's what he'll do. A furious man snaps that Liam wrecked his plans, and insists they can't just let that boy slip away, then snarls. Are they really going to spare him alive just because he's from the bourgeois? Their leader warns that if they dare to attack the MC, their reputation will take a straight dive down the drain. It's easy to kill the kid. What scares you is everything that happens right after. But if that's true, they'll start hunting for clues about the boy. And then they've got a VIP casino card to play. An aristocrat on their list, the heir of House PTAC, who's swimming in more money than they've ever seen, so he could be sitting on exactly the info they need. The chief nods and says, perfect, and they should go straight up to this person. The mission is simple. Dig up anything on Liam, anything at all, and use it to take him down. At Viscount Razor's house, balance rules everything when you run your territory, pirates included, and it starts by judging how stable the people near each zone are like. Most of the time, you can stop pirates from getting anywhere near you, because pirate spaces are basically born from the nobility's own stupidity. So when a girl asks Randolph how anyone handles them, normally, he grins and answers like it's nothing. And when it comes to pirates, he wipes them out completely. Mercy, still, some of them are worth keeping breathing instead of letting them die, because in the end, they're the key tools that let them seize and hold the whole territory. Liam challenges the idea that a noble's job isn't to guard both the territory and the people within it. And the man quickly agrees, no hesitation. And he says, that's why sometimes you've got to get your hands dirty. Then he fires back, sure, values matter, but that so-called world isn't as virtuous as it pretends to be. As that lesson kicks off, every single person watching it goes silent in an instant. An administrator's real job is to keep every single thing in line, because that's the fastest way to make sure nothing slips. Peter nods and admits it happens at his place sometimes too. Randolph's eyes go wide in surprise. Then excitement hits like a spark, and he blurts that this is way more unexpected than he thought, which is exactly why he's sure those two houses are about to build a booming business and a rock-solid relationship. Then the man zeroes back in on the main topic, even if you can't stand it. When you're sailing pirate space, teaming up with them is everything. That's the only way to rule a territory. Casinos are real, and they're right there like they belong in the world. Peter slumps in his chair, muttering through clenched teeth that he's bleeding money and he can't stop it. Right there, a man strides up and yells for the boy, like he's bleeding money and wasting precious time, and orders him to get back to his duty right now. The boy pleads to call the Viscount, but the man snaps back that it'd stain his name. Then Peter freezes, squirming in silence. Then the man leans in and demands to know if the young guy's willing to spill the information they need. Peter blurted yes, then leaned in and asked, so what do you need? The guy demands answers about the Banfield family, flashes a photo of Liam, and Peter snaps that he doesn't know a thing about that boy. The man claims he heard this boy is in the Razel house and presses hard on whether Peter truly has no idea. Then the young man shoots back, I don't know him. The Razel mansion is packed with people, and if that boy doesn't get the exact same treatment, you can bet he's just low nobility. He tells Peter, give us the extra details and I'll make sure you get treated like a VIP. The boy can't contain his excitement at the thought that this might actually happen. Then he leans in and promises, I'll track down the info. They want that, now watch him get the treatment he's earned. The smiling man grins and says they're betting on the bull. It's been 2 whole years since the nobles hauled themselves to the Razor House to toughen both body and mind. But today they're taking a breather, so everyone's forced to train on their own. But right at that moment, they're gonna have a blast, everyone. He pulls the whole thing together, munches and sips as live music blares through the air. Liam watches them and realizes, I thought we'd spot beautiful women, but what's in front of them is nothing like what he imagined. Kurt clocked it right away, girls were right there with them. The MC realizes it's true, but it's Ella's call to stay with them all or not. Time hits and the whole crew digs into barbecue pieces. Liam takes one bite and immediately goes, whoa, that is insanely tasty. Then he leaned in and demanded the girl in charge of the food bring him another. Ella leans in and asks, so what do you two call fun? Liam asks if they know any fun spots in the city, and Kurt just shrugs, saying he doesn't know a single one. He clocks that this is huge, so he eats, drinks, and lives it up like it matters. Those 3 things are the core of every human craving, and Kurt fully agrees. Liam looks back and realizes his past life's failure came from putting family above everything. But now he's ready to chase the world's temptations, because as a noble, it's his duty to forge places where everyone can indulge those desires. Liam wants to pull it off with his people and make sure every single thing goes exactly the way it has to. The attendant's jaw drops. Everything she sees and hears blows her away. Turns out they want to kick things into high gear, fast, even if they're still just kids. You can't live that kind of life by playing it painfully modest. So take a look around now and then, because hiding your wants isn't for humans, and if you're young, you've got to let yourself enjoy it. The girl bursts into laughter, then Liam's. He blurts out that he likes her, and because he's in a great mood, he plans to tip the madam. Then the woman's face snaps into total seriousness. She says, no, you don't have to do all that, just order something. Liam nods, grins, and tells her to bring him even more. Thank you, everyone's smiling again, and Kurt's right there with them, feeling the relief. Kurt felt completely downcast, like it finally hit him that his own needs were getting a little too loud, and he realized for the first time that people's desires can snowball into real problems. Suddenly, the MC's mind sparks with a burning curiosity. He can't stop wondering if Kurt really has the experience to back it up. He insists the kid's a noble so he can have anyone he wants. Then Kurt snaps, what are you talking about, Liam? Then he roars that one day he'll have a wife. Liam cuts in fast, saying that doesn't mean he'll be faithful. Still, Kurt grins and says he's going to stick with it, then leans in and asks Liam if he is too. The MC clocks the boy and instantly knows exactly what kind of person he is. Kurt's mind goes blank the moment that question hits him. He asks Liam if he's ever had any luck with girls, and when the boy says it's obvious, the confidence suddenly cracks as he starts thinking deeper. So yeah, the only woman stuck by his side was a Maggie, and let's be real, she's not exactly alive. Maybe that's why he's still green, Kurt says there. Then he blurts out that the conversation feels totally off, and that Liam is a super serious kid, while the MC snaps back insisting, "I'm not serious at all." Then it clicks, he finally understands exactly what's going on. He pops up and tells the whole crew to go blow off some steam and have a blast. Kurt feels awkward at first, but Liam shrugs and tells him there's nothing wrong with enjoying a little. Because if he never speaks up, nobody will know, and that's how he keeps playing the faithful one. El juraque con esa situación, va dejar de ser fila to do's. Liam insists that if they go together, nothing will go wrong. Then Ella leans in and tells them to stop and think about it for a moment. William blurts out, "What's going on?" and then fires back that it was her idea in the first place. She suggested they go have some fun. The girl flashes a grin. Then her smile wobbles as she blurts that she's worried about how they're. The MC wonders out loud if they really think she'll be scared. Then Ella snaps, "We're going to explode." So yeah, people can catch some tiny little illness. And just a few months later, boom, everything goes off like a bomb. No saving them after that. To get back to normal, someone's gotta take an elixir. And the cruel part is this. Whoever catches it could still be symptomatic, and they'll have no way to tell whether they actually got infected or not. Liam clocks it instantly. Tonight they have to get home. Dijo quellos dos, deberian estar agradecidos por avisarles de él. Liam and Kurt are slumped on a bench, trading quiet looks as everything feels like it's about to kick off. The boy realizes he doesn't care about the party at all, but it still forces him to stand there and perform, so it ticks him off. Kurt clocked this place for what it was, a flashy debutante ball for the high society crowd, while Ella shrugged and said there's nothing anyone can do about it. And then people are buzzing about Peter getting hitched to Katerina, and everyone can finally breathe. Because if the students the Viscount called and pull off the win, he'll be absolutely ecstatic. Kurt demands if she's really assuming the Viscount has zero clue what's coming. Ella snaps back that he might not, and then points out that they could very well be choosing to step into it themselves. Liam stares at the mess and realizes, yeah, he thought he'd figured out those arranged marriages, but now he's wondering if the Viscount is so innocent he can't even be trusted with his own things. Yeah, of course, mess with rules that pure, and you're setting yourself up for disaster, and Liam realizes right then that if this plays out the wrong way, he's gonna be in serious trouble if he ends up. Kurt tells Peter he feels the same, but then he pushes to confront him anyway, so he won't let guilt swallow him. Peter and the other one studied at the same academy, but it looks like Peter literally bought his way out, like his life had a price. Liam is stunned that this could actually be real, Ella says. He's taking it way too seriously. Schools usually hand out licenses to people with big social clout, and suddenly it becomes killer publicity for them to brag about that school license. Kurt realizes he and his dad earned that license the right way, through skill alone, only after his father went and became a lawyer. And yep, the exam fee is insanely expensive, so even if you're tough and talented, you still need a mountain of cash. Liam clocks it instantly. This whole setup reeks of a scam. So he could stare at his master even longer, because the man demanded nothing back. Liam's eyes light up with pride every time he learns something new. Peter struts up to the group, greets everyone, and spits out that they're just common poor people. Katarina watches it all and feels crushed for them the moment Peter labels them like that, and Liam shoots back, asking what that kid even has to settle with them. Peter says he's been thinking about doing them a favor. He's itching to rally everyone and drag them to his favorite casino. Liam flat out says he's not interested, and Ella fires back that she has no money to waste on it either, while Kurt also shuts the door on the idea. Peter explodes with rage at that response. Those people had better not dare refuse his invitation, and then he starts to draw his. Then he blurts that he's officially licensed at a school, and the group better not push him, because they don't want to see him explode. His blade flashes like lightning. No cheesy surprise sword, just a real, steel-cold sword in his hands. Kurt tells him to put it away, and Katerina snaps that Peter can't kick off a fight in there. But the boy ignores her and declares the group needs a punishment. Yet Katerina isn't playing around and snaps at him to stop it. Again, she shoves the boy hard, Peter. He drops hard to the ground, his head smashing into the collar. Pain hits him and Liam mocks him with loud laughter. Katerina rushes in, asks if he's okay, and promises she'll call a doctor. From far away, the man in the top hat keeps his eyes locked on everything. And yet, right in that exact moment, Liam's gratitude hits him so hard it feels like it's reaching through the distance. He's lost the power to slip between worlds, and he can't do a single thing anymore. The man wonders if revenge is still within reach right now, or if he's about to do nothing but stand there and watch. Some pirates lunge for Liam, but Go's crew hits harder, and there are just too many of them to stop. Still, that's not the end. Nothing will ever be enough. Something slams into the man in the top hat. He storms out of that place where Randolph is locked in an important talk and tells the person there, "Don't reach me unless it's urgent." But the gang leader smirks and claims he's got a story the Viscount is gonna love. Randolph leans in and asks if they want to hurt the Banfield family they're supposed to protect, and then he shuts it down fast, saying it won't be happening. The man swears they'll stick to their end of the deal. If they let the boy keep doing this, they're warning they'll have no choice but to call in their pirates. Randolph fires the question, "Are you really ready to gamble your own reputation just to keep the pirates' reputation intact?" The man scoffs, says that somehow they're alive only because the Lord was merciful, and swears this kind of thing will never happen again. Then Randolph fires off a question, "What's their plan?" The leader grins and says they'll hit Liam the moment he slips out of Viscount's territory, going straight for the Banfield military network, the perfect paper target. Randolph goes quiet for a beat, then admits he can't help, and by the time he says it, it's already too late to turn back toward the boss says this should be enough, then adds, "Bring Peter into the fight too," since he's already offered to help. Randolph presses Peter on whether he really did it, and the captain straight up confirms it. Then it hits. This isn't just business, he's got a personal grudge to settle, and even the Piddock house has thrown their ships in to help. Randolph goes silent for a long, tense moment, like even his thoughts have locked up. Right before this, Katerina warned him about the feud between them, but he never expected Peter's hate for Liam to burn that hot. Worse than having no reason, the whole army marches anyway, yet somehow he can't dodge it. Randolph says it's fine, just don't drag him into it, and he makes it crystal clear he wants nothing to do with Piddock House because only the pirates are allowed in. The leader nods and fires off his plan. He'll make the Piddock House dress up as pirates next. Because the Banfield House is already a thorn in the Empire, and if they get blindsided by a pirate attack, nobody will bother looking too closely. Randolph orders the pirates to leave zero evidence, and the man nods on the spot. Then the leader fires back that they're trying to keep a solid, friendly relationship with the... I watch Randolph hang up in dead silence, then he dives right back in, scrolling and choosing the guest list for this year's party. Merchants and weapon company reps are coming in droves, and thanks to the Piddock House, this year's party is about to blow up into something bigger than anyone's expecting. If they can win over the arriving guests and build the right bond, the future of Razor House might not just survive, it could soar. Randolph can barely wait, this is about to get wild, the man. He tips his top hat and watches everything from the window, grinning like he can't wait to see what happens next. They've got pirates roaming wild, plus the Piddock House and the Razzle House sitting right there, waiting for trouble. With all three forces working together, they've got to churn out at least 10,000 battleships. On the other side, Liam is stuck with just a few hundred vassals, and the man is laughing. This is Liam's final hour, and everyone can feel it. Meanwhile, the dog's spirit watches it all and tears through the woods like it's hunting destiny. This year's party is packed with major guests, so every detail has to be handled with ruthless precision. Liam's baffled, then Curtin snaps his attention to it. A flood of PTAC house guests is bearing down on them, and the Razor House officials are coming too. The MC realizes this is exactly why they're busting their backs, and then he spots something that grabs his attention like a hook in his chest. The boy blurts out, "So, is this where we'll fight?" Kurt asks Liam if he's really not going to join, and Liam shoots back that it'd be a tragedy to let someone with his license lose to a kid like him. Kurt can't help but stare at the ending coming right after the brawl and the party, and Liam snaps back, telling him to quit the gloom, because after that they're headed straight for primary school. From there it only gets crazier, and Kurt's like, "Yeah, I know." Then someone yanks the boy's attention, telling him Kurt's family is calling and he needs to rush to the communication room right away, before. Kurt stalks right after the man. Out of nowhere, Liam spots something that looks just like a dog. He chases after it, heart racing, wondering if it's truly lost. And that place is deadly for animals to roam, so he grabs that courage and takes the creature out before it gets hurt. The dog barrels down the corridor and Liam tears after it. Then it vanishes out of nowhere, and Liam's left scrambling, wondering where the heck it went. Liam catches Kurt chatting with his relatives, and they can't come get him because they're swamped with pirates. Then Liam realizes the voice is his. Friends, then he blurts, "Hey, what's going on?" Kurt's freaking out, thinking the kid might have overheard, but Liam shoots back that he wasn't listening at all. He was hunting for a dog and somehow ended up here. Kurt tells Liam that his family found out the pirates are using their satellites as a base, and once this explodes on a bigger scale, they'll be nearly impossible to wipe out, so Liam snaps. "Then call your father." Then he declares he's joining the fight against the pirates, so the boy steps in fast, saying he's grateful but he wants to refuse because there are just too many pirates out there. There, Liam lays it out straight. Pirates are his biggest money maker. Kurt can't make heads or tails of what he just heard. Total confusion hits him hard. Liam says this is how they'll rake in a mountain of money, then he leans in and asks the boy if he's satisfied, while the MC cuts it short and declares, "Deal S done." When it's all over now, Kurt tells the others they'll head to the boy's house together. Then they'll take on the pirates, and he snaps back that Liam can't just decide everything like that. You typically have to call your own home to sort it all out. After everyone finishes studying in their own territory, they all have to come back home. And Liam's crew is already gearing up for a wild party because he's coming home soon. And Kurt's not about to stir up even more trouble for the boys' home. The MC flashes a grin and asks if the guy is seriously that worried, then leans in and insists everything is totally fine. In his territory, everything rises or falls on him. His word is law, and when he says black, that's exactly what it turns into. And nobody can deny it. Liam's pumped, and he immediately shouts for his friend, slamming his fist into his for a quick bump. Then he grins and says chasing pirates is pure fun. On the far side of that wall, Ella stays hidden, smiling like she knows every secret, and soaking up every word as it happens. The way that Duo hunts pirates is straight-up legendary. She pauses and realizes those two can't be ignored, not for a second, so she decides she has to follow them right now because there won't be a second chance. Liam finally crosses paths with Ella. He says a weird feeling hit him, but he never expected it to be her. And now the girl is telling them she came to round them up, because if they don't get back to work soon, they're going to be in serious trouble. Liam asks Ella if she spotted a dog. She shakes her head and says no. Then Kurt blurts out that he feels like something is watching him too, like it's got its eyes on him, but maybe it's just his imagination. They all wonder if some spirit is watching them from the shadows. Then the coach storms in, curses flying, and demands they get back to work right now. Then Ella turns to Liam and asks, "Can I talk to you for a second?" She'd heard it from Kurt, but she had to pin him down herself. After all this, is he really headed to the other territory? Liam nods in agreement, and Ella quickly asks, "Can I come with you?" The MC goes quiet for a beat, totally thrown off as the girl's excitement spills over like a spark in the dark. The girl blurts out that she's got too much on her plate. Liam can't stop wondering if she's got real feelings for Kurt, but she insists the final call is up to his friend. Then she nods and says she understands. Then Liam tells them he'll hit Kurt up later, and Ella fires off a quick order. When it's time to leave, come to her ship. She'll be waiting for him. Liam can't stop thinking that maybe they should team up, because when this all started, he never saw just how far everything was going to go. But in the end, he's going to get left alone again, and it's all because Liam helped him. Chances are they won't stay in touch after primary school, but Kurt is determined to repay Liam's kindness. So over and over again, the boy shows up. Right behind him, the MC blurts, "So we're really headed to Kurt's place." And then he adds, "Ella wants to go too." The boy shrugs and says he's fine, but he's not sure his house can pull off the kind of reception this needs for. Liam tells Kurt not to stress. If he doesn't want to host her, he can just send her straight to his own house. So who's seeing this as the best move? And Liam blurts, "Don't worry, I'll handle it." Meanwhile, at the Banfield house, Brian falls into deep thought, then grabs his phone and calls Selena, the woman he hasn't talked to in ages. The woman greets him like no time passed, then hits him with the brutal truth. After all this time, he's finally starting to look old. Ryan claims Selena hasn't changed much, and she pushes right back, asking when he's been keeping track. Then she drops the bombshell that she retired ages ago and handed her duties to her granddaughter, and Brian can't hide it. Envy claws at him. Selena tells him, "If you truly want things to be better, stop and rest too. Don't just keep serving the Lord." Brian declares he'll live and die for the Banfield house. Selena nods, saying she gets it. Then she shrugs it off and demands to know one thing: has it all really ended there? And right after that, she mentions what she heard about the Lord. Brian blurts out that he wants to talk about Lord Liam, and right then, He's stuck getting schooled by the noble house, the kind of treatment he can't stomach, not when Selena probably knows what's going on. So Selena steps in and asks Brian, which house is Liam in? The man insists he's inside the Razel house, the one with a legendary, perfectly preserved reputation. The woman sucked in a deep breath then. She snaps that Brian should have called her sooner, because then she could have pointed him to a real noble house. Right before training wraps up, they throw in a sword-fighting match just to light the whole thing up for everyone's entertainment. Only a tiny bunch gets the invitation, and you can bet they're the ones who just won the battle. On one side, Kurt's nerves are jangling. On the other, Peter fires off complaints, whining that Kurt's defensive style is painfully boring. Liam closes in on Kurt and demands to know if he really understands how wildly different their levels are. Meanwhile, Liam just watches from a distance, furious that Kurt's getting battered by those brutal moves, and it feels downright tragic. Ela si de cuenta de quin le dio, a Pedro la licencia no puso, ni un minimo de cuidado. El niño ni siquiera sabe como blandir la espada. Kurt drops his sword to the ground, drops to his knees, and declares he surrenders. So yeah, Peter wins. The boy bows to the crowd, firing off a heartfelt thank you like it's the biggest moment of his life. Then he slams his foot down on Kurt's head, saying he's disgusted with the boy, and demanding to know if Kurt even realizes just how skilled he really is. Peter grabs him and tells him to rethink everything from this moment on, and then, boom, he drops an amazing idea. He jabs a finger at Liam and vows he's stepping in to take him on next. He sneers at the MC's fighting style, basically saying the kid has zero excuses. And just like that, Peter steps up and challenges him to a battle. The trainer strides up to Liam and promises, "If you go, I'll pull us out of the mess." The MC asks if it's really okay for him to fight for real, and the trainer snaps back that stopping Liam is pointless, because he's going to do what he wants anyway. They've just got to get it done fast, and Liam won't stand for that farce, because the real deal is this: Liam can't kill. Liam watches the boy and realizes he's never once held back in a fight, yet he swears he'll go even harder. Then the trainer's jaw drops when he sees what the MC chose to battle with. It's just a toy hammer, yet it still feels wildly disrespectful for. Battle rages and Liam's already clocking the truth. If he swings with anything else, he'll end up killing Peter, no doubt. Peter just laughs, taunts the MC, and fires back. "So, Liam, are you so broke you can't even buy decent web?" What? The MC locks eyes with his opponent, and Kurt and Ella can't stop trembling as the fight gets signaled, like it's about to explode any second. Liam slams Peter to the ground in a flash, and Randolph is left totally stunned and speechless. Peter's sprawled flat, utterly beaten. The crowd is totally lost, watching Peter drop to stillness after one brutal blow, like it happens in seconds and no one can explain why. Rage boiling, Randolph barks at them to rush Peter straight to the infirmary, while Kurt and Ella stare at him, completely stunned. Then they announce Liam as the winner, and the kid just can't help but mock him. In the crowd, people start grumbling that Liam clearly cheated, and Liam fires right back. If anyone's got something to say, they better step down to the ring and say it to his face. With a grin blazing across his face, the MC says he'll take them all at once. Then crowds start surging into the ring, spitting fury at Liam, and Randolph is stuck in total shock at every second of chaos, while Liam lifts his hammer, taunting them. Then he charges in and smashes them all to pieces. The whole group barrels through the air and slams into the wall with a brutal crash. Everyone's down for the count. Then at the very top, one of the young men's fathers grabs the Viscount and demands to know what's going on. Randolph stares at the mess and realizes this isn't how it's supposed to be. Everything around him is already falling apart. Liam laughs at every defeated kid, telling them not to get cocky just because they scraped together a few wins. While everyone scrambles to get ready for the party, the trainer clocks this. If Randolph kicks even one student out of the celebration, it'll be a total disaster for Razor House. Still, Randolph clocks it. This little brat didn't just cause trouble for them, he also managed to insult the other students' guardians, so there's no way they can let him skate without punishment. Someone like Liam doesn't belong at that celebration, and he's not about to gamble with his daughter's engagement, because Peter's already clocked it. Some nobody like Liam has no business being at a party like this. Once the party finally wraps up, they're set on handling Liam right then and there. Peter spots something that yanks his focus and fires back. "What is that bonsai?" Randolph claims it's a gift from the PTAC house, and right then and there, he decides to unveil it. Peter bursts into laughter and shoots back that it's impossible, because if he really sent something that expensive, everyone would instantly question his judgment. Randolph goes totally speechless, then spits out, "If this was a mistake and it's not some gift from the PTAC house, I'm getting rid of it." Then he grabbed the coach's attention and demanded they throw it away with. With a bonsai cradled in his lap, the coach shoots Liam an apology and admits that Lord Randolph never wanted to hear him out. Liam clocks it instantly. Apparently Viscount Razel is throwing his own vassals into a terrible spot. Confused, he can't help but ask. Then the MC leans in and tells him, "If you go to the Banfield house, they'll welcome you with open arms," and the man just goes quiet for a beat. Then he bursts into hearty laughter, and right after that he declares he's staying put, because he's got a debt to Lord Randolph. Liam realizes this isn't just sorrow, it's loyalty, too, because knights like that will stick to their lord through every last breath. To make up for all those problems, he grabbed drinks and food. Liam Mox even said he's insanely happy. Still, the MC has to get out the moment he's done. Liam tells him the ride is almost here, so they can't stay. Then he leans in and demands to know what that man plans to do with the bond. He swears it must be something priceless, but doubt gnaws at him. Lord Randolph is demanding he toss it out, and he's completely stuck, not knowing a single thing to do. Liam leans in and asks, "Can I really keep the bonsai?" The man nods and cheers that he'll finally wipe out the problem, and then the two trade goodbyes and walk away. Liam stares at the tiny tree, then his mind snaps back and Brian comes rushing in. Randolph can't seem to figure out what that item is worth, and the boy's fury flares. Then someone blurts out a call to him. It's Kurt and Ella, and the two of them are hauling their backs along right now. The MC leans in and declares, "No way, this party isn't over, don't you dare stay here." They heard Liam got kicked out and that was all it took, so they followed him. Ella says, "We need to get out of here ASAP." Liam grins and tells them it's almost time for the ship to come get them, and the whole trio gathers close, buzzing with happiness. Meanwhile, at Viscount Razel's spaceport, things were about to go down. Christiana blurts out that she wants to start showering everyone with more decorations and real generosity. They should crank up the holograms, seriously make them everywhere. They're told to coat everything in gold, and right as she reaches for the decorations, a staff member snaps, "Don't touch them, get permission first." Christiana blurts out that it's been ages since she last saw Liam, and that the preparations have to be flawless, no matter what it drains from their pockets. The staff member tells her to do it the moment she steps back into her world. And honestly, the ship they used to get there is straight up incredible. Christiana claims it's their battleship, and the guy fires back, saying that's exactly what you'd expect from a PTAC house. The warrior stays locked in silence for a heartbeat, and then the man smirks, saying this whole thing is nothing like the shameful head of the Banfield house. Suddenly, the girl yanks the man by the collar and shoves a sword straight into his mouth. "Chris." Ms. Gianna snaps that it's ridiculous to tie the glory of Banfield house to some other house, then straight up asks if they're trying to insult her. Every single staff member is fighting to set the record straight, insisting they never meant it. Even so, the girl grips her sword like it's the only thing keeping her standing. Out of nowhere, someone yells for her, so she whips the staff member away and cuts them loose. The moment she picks up, Liam is right there on the line. The MC can't take it anymore and starts grilling them on why they haven't shown up to pick him up yet. Rage burns in Liam's chest as Christiana scrambles to explain herself. As soon as he hangs up, he sucks in a deep breath like it's all he can do to calm down. Kurt immediately asks if something's really bothering him. So it turns out his fleet got rerouted to a whole new spot, meaning they'll be stuck on the way for a while. Then Merchant Thomas rushes up to Lord Liam. The boy says, "Man, it's been ages since we last saw each other." And Thomas blurts out that he hunted for him at the party, only to learn the kid got thrown out. Liam says the Viscount clearly can't stand him, and good, because Liam's not exactly a fan either. Then Thomas jumps in agreeing, and right on cue, two more people show up. Nies Carlin is practically vibrating with excitement, begging Thomas to buy her a brand new fleet, while Ulyssia Morrisil chimes in, firing comments about their plan to build the boy's next ship. If the boy follows her, she'll spill every detail to him herself. Liam shoots her down and tells her to do whatever she wants, and then Nies Carlin starts mocking him. Then she snaps that Elijah Morrisil's seduction trick just won't work on her. Meanwhile, everyone just stares at her in stunned silence. Ulyssia Murasil huffs that everyone's staring at her bear-themed top, and Nies Carlin snaps back that with her salary cut, she can't afford anything nicer. Ella panics over Nies Carlin's paycheck. She admits things are going terribly, and she even says her own house might be slipping away. Liam fires back, "How much do you need?" And she shoots, "How much do I get for the fortress?" So excited she can barely wait as she asks if he's really buying it. Nia's Carlin can't contain his excitement. He's like, I should grab even more stuff. And then Liam slams it down. I'm buying 300 items. Eulogia Morisel stares at the boy, stunned, like, how do you figure this out so fast? She tries to sell off the third weapon factory, and Liam slams his refusal down hard. Nia's Carlin clocks the real truth about her bond with Liam, and it's way more than she's letting on. Meanwhile, she and Eulogia Morisel try to talk through everything. Then suddenly a runner bursts in, and Liam shouts that they've finally arrived. Christiana drops to a bow before the boy and rushes out an apology, because she's late. She snaps that they shoved her to another area, and before she can keep going, Liam flicks her on the head, making her yelp that it hurts. The MC snaps that she doesn't get to hide behind excuses for keeping him waiting. Her eyes blow wide in shock, and she yanks her sword out in an instant. She presses the weapon to her throat and declares she'll hand over her head as the price of her apology. Liam shoves the girl back and snarls, asking if she's stupid. She's gotta hurry, then he can finally head home fast, and they must not leave that bonsai behind. Christiana asks the boy, will you forgive us? And Liam snaps back, no, I can't forgive that fast, He says that once they get home, he'll force her to work until she drops dead. Christiana goes quiet for a split second, then her face lights up and she nods fast. Liam leans in and asks where her ship is so he can board. The girl blurts that it just landed. Then that massive ship grinds to a halt right in front of all of them. Inside, Kurt grabbed a cup of tea and served it. He thanks her with real sincerity, and you can see it. He's genuinely blown away. Liam asks what's wrong. The boy blurts out he can't even imagine what it was like inside that ship. And the MC hits back. Why won't Kurt buy one for himself? And the boy shoots back. That's impossible because they don't just lack permission, it's all. And yeah, it's wildly expensive with maintenance that never lets up. So they're stuck with cheap, practical gear, and Liam's already clocked that he's got plenty of it. After going and making that reckless deal with Nia's Carlin again, there's no way Amagi can keep everything buried forever. So the boy leans in, tells Kurt he's got a plan, and promises to hand over some of his own gear. Kurt snaps that he can't just take it as a gift, and Liam shoots back that if the kid grabs a bit of his gear, it'll help him out a ton. Kurt says, if that's the plan, then I'm in, no doubt. More ships means more firepower, and even if they need repairs, he's not sweating it. Liam smiles at the answer, but the truth hits. His ships are still brand new, so he leans in and asks Kurt how big the pirate fleet is at House Exner. Christiana points out they've spotted 3,000 enemy ships, but the scary part is they're tucked inside a stronghold. Liam lights up, because that means this place is packed with treasure for the taking. Kurt rushes to talk to the boy, but the MC cuts in and promises he'll make sure House Exner gets 30% of the profit. Kurt snaps that this isn't what's freaking him out and demands to know if Liam isn't nervous at all. Then the MC fires back that he's not, because pirates are basically his main paycheck. They handed over everything they had, and now, no sweat, I'll erase every last one of them. Christiana practically bounces over, all fired up, and tells Liam to leave that fight to his van, right now. The boy snaps at the girl to tone down her confidence and hand him the final call, and she bows right away, whispering apologies for her, stop. She can't finish the sentence. Then she snatches the phone call, right on the spot. They've confirmed the enemies are real, about 20,000 of them, and Christiana immediately fires back. So, are they pirates? She confirms it. Yeah, some of them are nobles, and they look down on everyone like they're better than you. Guys, Liam's soldiers are sharpening their blades, gearing up for battle right now. Kurt can't stop asking why pirates are showing up here when they just wiped Razel's territory, but Liam shrugs and says they don't care, just break them. The map lays out their current state, and yeah, it looks like they're trying. Kurt studies the numbers and realizes Liam's fleet can only count 300 vassals, while the enemy rolls in with a staggering 20,000, leaving no room for a fair fight. Liam fires a question at Christiana, demanding to know where their central forces are. They just rolled in with 15,000 central forces, and now they're standing in a hard, tight formation facing them. The enemies roll in, and with adrenaline surging, the MC grins and orders them to unleash the attack. Explosions tore through the battlefield, and a storm of gunfire ripped into the enemy. Kurt's stunned. Those enemy numbers are dropping insanely fast, and now 3,000 of them are charging straight at them. Kurt panics when he sees the number dwarfs theirs, but Liam cuts in and tells the young man not to stop. The boy drops into a seat and shouts that everyone needs to brace for battle. Christiana is about to be pushed to her limit, and it's about to get brutal. Energized, she lifts her sword high, and screams to wipe out every enemy of Lord Liam. Kurt's face tightens, he's terrified and warns, this is insanely dangerous. But the MC grins and shoots back. Our crew's way more ready than the enemy's, numbers won't decide this. They've got the most advanced gear and the best ships in the fleet. On top of that, their training is brutal, and every soldier is elite as it gets. Liam can't remember ever losing a battle to an enemy's sheer size, so there's zero chance he's losing after this. Because no matter what, he's got his guide right there beside him. The top-hatted man snaps with indignation, wondering if Liam will ever quit believing in him, then spots all those soldiers marching alongside Liam and can't make sense of why anyone would bring so many, because it feels wildly illogical. His master plan is crumbling fast, and it's getting worse, because right now he burned his final power, yanking at it with everything he had, just to make it work. The pirate attacks keep hammering on, then the pirate chief rages hard after hearing one brutal thing. Liam's army was supposed to be an easy target. Defeat turns out they're armed to the teeth, so tell me how the Banfield House even managed to haul a ship like that in the first place. Liam shrugs off every single pirate attack like it's nothing, then one of the crew blurts, "Captain," and there's a pair of. Looks like the PTAC house fleet is getting wiped out. Completely, and a few of them have even managed to grab. The pirate fumes, blasting the nobles for lacking the guts to do anything. Then he demands to know if the PTAC house shouldn't be loaded with the finest ships. The captain slams the decision down. Retreat now, no hesitation, because they've got to escape that mess at any cost. Even if it means giving up some of themselves, they'll do whatever it takes, because the only rule left is to survive. The enemies suddenly stopped firing and started retreating, and Liam's rage hit the roof because they're trying to run. Kurt stared at Liam's fleet and realized it was way beyond any regular noble army, so much more advanced it felt unreal, while Liam just shrugged, saying he'd already told him everything would be fine. Christiana blurts out that they've found the nobles siding with the pirates, and they're all from the PTAC house. Kurt snaps with fury because that's Peter's house. Then their ship blasted a message through the comms, and it was aimed straight at Liam. To see, one of the PTAC house ships calls it quits and surrenders. Kurt points out that keeping the feuds burning between the houses is a total disaster. So if they surrender, Liam has nowhere else to go. But the MC doesn't buy it, and Liam finally says why. Those guys don't look like they're with the PTAC house at all. After all that, this house is virtuous and noble. No way they'd team up with pirates. So yeah, those pirates are just imposters trying to pass themselves off as something they're not. Nobles, then what reason would we have to accept their surly? What a deal. Christiana could barely contain her excitement, and it was practically bursting out of her. They're seconds away from unleashing the attack on the pirates. Liam tells Kurt to let a few slips go so they can learn where the hideout is, and Kurt snaps back that those aren't just enemies. They're important families, wondering if Liam really thinks it's okay, and Liam says yes. And now they're heading straight into the young man's territory. Kurt's jaw drops. Then the MC shrugs and says he's heading to his room to rest for a bit. The young man grins and says he'll stick around to watch. Then Liam walks off, while Christiana whispers that this is the greatest presentation of Lord Liam she's seen for Kurt. The young man remembers the MC saying, "Everything I say is," and then cutting off mid-word like it was a trap. No kidding, Kurt knows it's for real, and if he were standing in that young man's shoes, he'd just walk away and leave the PTAC house intact. Now it all clicks. Liam's so strong because he barrels straight into every fight, no backing down. Nia's Carlin looks around and instantly realizes this place feels anything but safe. And Eulogia Morisel drives those texts home even harder. The seventh factory always boasts big performance, but can't find balance, and that's exactly why Nia's Carlin snaps back. They're not the kind of factory that cuts costs. Then she blurts out that's probably exactly why Liam left them behind. Elijah Morisal fumes and snaps at Nia's Carlin's stance, and right between the two girls is Ella. So she pestered Nia's Carlin about what kind of girl Liam actually likes, and surprise, surprise, Ella is crazy curious. Ella's way too curious about all of this. Eulysia Morisil even asks if starting anything with Liam feels impossible given how their families clash, but Ella shuts that down fast, saying her goal isn't to get tangled up with the family. Eulysia Morisil tells the guy she gets it, but honestly, none of it changes a thing, whether they're talking about Liam or Kirk. Turns out Ella's got her eyes on one of the two. Ella says she's not chasing marriage dreams at all, because all she's ever carried is her family. Name, two saleswomen lock eyes, and the moment the silence hits, they fire back, asking if the girl's actually serious. Meanwhile, Randolph leans in and demands to know what it means. Turns out the PTAC house and the Banfield house records got swapped, like someone flipped the whole board overnight. He screams for the pirates to fall back, fast. Then an employee bursts in to talk with Randolph, and things only get worse from there. They just got the bombshell news. The pirates are wiped out and the PTAC house has crumbled too. Then it hits again. They're begging for help and they're sending reinforcements they can't afford to lose. Randolph snaps that they can't send reinforcements and must fix this right now. Then the employee fires back, saying they already locked in an alliance for the engagement, so they can't just walk away. Randolph can't help it. Nervousness starts creeping in, and the whole situation suddenly feels way too real. Suddenly, Randolph's daughter, Katerina, calls him. She's at the PTOC house, and something's definitely wrong because she can't just call for no reason, but everything is turned on its head, and they're even going as far as demanding that. The Razel house paid off some of its debts, and she rushed to reach Peter's parents in the capital, only for them to cut her off and slam the door in her face, and it didn't stop there. Turns out Peter caught some nasty disease that makes people explode. Randolph slams to a stop, goes completely still, and nothing comes back. Then, out of nowhere, he slumps and face splints, stunned, wondering how on earth this could have happened. At last, the ride is over. Razel House has reached its end. Destroyed, meanwhile, over in the ex-Ner territory, Kurt's father rushes to apologize because Liam didn't just bring Kurt, he brought his whole fleet too. Liam shrugs it off like it's nothing, then adds that he's hauling supplies from his own territory too. The man blurts out how grateful he is, but Liam snaps, "Don't worry about it." Liam goes back to what he remembers. Those pirates used to roar with 3,000 ships, but now they've hauled themselves together with a few other groups and grown by a few hundred more. Yet Liam's convinced this won't be a big problem. "Those hundreds are the ones he personally let slip," the MC says, then shrugs it off. "Don't stress. I've got this and it'll all turn out fine." Kurt's father pulls him aside, makes him sit, and tells him to learn from Liam how to do it. The two share a final goodbye, and Liam leans in close to Christiana, telling her they're going too. He charges forward, then the boy steps into his gigantic war robot. Nia's Carlin nailed it. She kept everything running perfectly. The boy leans in and asks Christiana if she's okay out there in her ship. The girl tags along with a war robot, then gushes, "This unit is amazing." Elijah Morrisile rushes up looking worried, but Christiana reassures her. She's trained hard and soaked up the theory inside the education capsule. Down there, that woman frets that Christiana isn't fully recovered yet to do this. But the warrior snaps that it won't matter, and since Liam asked for it, she has no choice but to obey. And yeah, the Lord had that robot built just for her, so she'd better make every second of it count. The two robots and the rest blast into the sky, heading straight toward where the pyro is. Its nest is inside, and that fortress is way bigger than they ever imagined. Sensors lit up with tons of objects and wild bursts of energy, and they're charging in at breakneck speed. Liam can't believe it. These enemies are absolutely out of this world. Hurling all sorts of rocks at them, non-stop, rocks cracking through the air like a storm. Liam watches the attack land again, and this time he's struck by how clever it looks, yet how totally useless it turns out to be. Against him, the boy snaps into action, smashing every rock in his way before it can stop him. While Liam watches his own strength drain, realizing he's gotta train harder, because all that time panicking at the Razel house is catching up to him. The fighting rages on, and the war just keeps getting worse with every new attack. Machines tear through every enemy fragment, then stand guard to protect. Turns out Christiana and the others are absolutely crushing it right now. They've already wrapped up their prep and are ready to slip into the fortress's interior. Liam asks, "Can we go in yet?" And they tell him, "Not yet, we're here to smash enemy weapons and launch our forces." Liam snaps that he wants to see what's inside, right when his army tries to reach him. But the kid's already locked in, determined to break in. He's dead sure he has to be the first one to step into that. Fortress walls standing tall. Now he's set on breaking in, using his very own robot to do it. The pirate captain got hit over and over, every attack coming from right behind him. And it's their brutal payback for dragging that bounty hunter right into their mess. He storms into the room, drowning in despair, and blurts out that the enemy has finally started. Bad news. Then he finally launched the assault, and in the chaos, explosion after explosion tore through the air. Liam's crew has the upper hand right now. Massive robots slam into the pirates' units, and the pirates start to lose control. Everything spins toward disaster as they're cut off. Christiana can barely contain her excitement. She finally feels revenge closing in. The begging cries pirates make somehow makes her grin wider, because it means she's about to annihilate them. A few of them lunge for her from behind, trying to catch her off guard. But they don't stand a snowball's chance. Before anyone can even get a word out, they're cut clean in half. Christiana's power is terrifying. She annihilates them all, and even as she dominates, she realizes she's still nowhere close to reaching Liam's level. Meanwhile, the MC and the crew from his fleet were lining up to go, when it all started to fall apart. Liam stares at Christiana and wonders if she'll actually join, and the girl laughs it off, saying she'll handle the rest of the pirates still causing trouble. Liam says he gets it, then pirates surge in, yelling that they'll prove he can't stop them. Get in, Liam's already figured it out. Those pirates stand no chance against him. With zero struggle, he taps straight into his machine's power. So he blasts out a weird, unstoppable barrier that smacks the pirates, and his power is so brutal it crushes their whole. And in the end, those robots end up wrecked on the ground, left shattered, while Liam's barrier towers above them, bigger and way more powerful. Once the MC wipes the area clean, his soldiers surge in and take over. He spots the entrance and decides to slide in too, just to get a little closer. Soldiers fan out behind him, and the boy spots it instantly. The door swings wide, and he stumbles out straight onto a dock like he just dropped into a brand new world. Right when it seemed safe, the pirate robots swarm back in, and then they taunt Liam, saying that with a machine that big, he won't be able to move. The MC takes one look and realizes he can absolutely handle that with zero trouble. But right then, he can't wait to test Christiana's abilities fast. The girl surges forward and whips her blade so fast, she basically erases the enemy in seconds. Then they whip out their firearms and blast apart the last remaining pirates they're facing. They shoved it all through to the finish, even as those pirates rolled in with. Christiana leans in and clocks it. These weapons aren't generic at all. She realizes their military power is tailor-made, and the whole setup runs on units built off the exact same model the Imperial Army uses. The girl steps forward fast, tears in her eyes, and blurts out that she's insanely sorry for what she did to him. She can barely finish the sentence. Every pirate unit standing there gets wiped out in a single instant. Liam's so pumped to wipe every last enemy off the map that he screams for all of them to be annihilated. One by one, no mercy. The secret pirate boss is drenched in sweat, and Liam's military hits so hard it's basically unreal. Commands crackled through the room as subordinates rushed in, yelling that the enemy was charging straight for the command center. The pirate chief erupts in laughter, proclaiming that Liam's crew is the absolute best. He swings a badge around his neck and, off the chain, then he hurls a weird-looking command plate into the computer and snarls, "Whatever it takes, we're doing it." He's out to wipe out Liam's whole fleet and turn that fortress into a planet-shattering Big Bang. Suddenly, Liam gets contacted, and the voice on the other end asks, "Can you hear me, boy?" Then he hurls the words out like a death sentence. "I've activated the self-destruction of the entire fortress." That place got ditched by the Imperial Army decades ago, but they hauled it back, patched it up, and turned it into exactly what they needed. And just like anything the Imperial Army touches, that fortress is straight-up terrifying. Liam cuts in, asking if that's all they've got to say. Then the MC snaps that he's a coward for pulling that move, and tells him to go ahead if that's the only choice he has left. Right after that, the pirate chief starts laying into the fortress. The pirate chief roars that it's hopeless, because this is where everything ends for all of them. The communication turns rotten fast. Liam insists he won't die there, but the pirates, yeah, they're done for, so he reaches out to Nies Carlin. She knows that system inside out, tells the boy to hold up for a second, and right as the transports are shutting down and the combat units demand they can go, she's like, "It'll." Nies Carlin tells Liam, "Don't worry, I've already sent everything you need." That bomb is built to imitate a dying star, so yeah, it's brutal and dangerous. But Liam's got the gear he needs, and he can blow it apart. The MC clocks it instantly. Nies Carlin is straight up unbelievably useful. He realizes she's the one who pulls him through when it matters most, and then he decides, no more games, it's time to stop this for good. Liam snaps open a shimmering portal right in front of him. It's time to use the coordinates and punch in a path to the exact location, so they start. We're still waiting on the autopilot's answers, and Liam is gripping this massive bazooka in his hands. He slams the switch, roars the gigantic device to life, then aims it straight at the portal, because only his enemy is getting blown to pieces. Liam rockets through the portal, and the shock slams straight into the enemy, right where they were standing, about to cut the fight in half, before the sentence even finishes. Liam watches the target get obliterated, just like he predicted. That was insanely incredible, and it still felt heartbreaking at the same time. With everyone safe at last, it's time to hit the road and start treasure hunting. Liam and his crew storm in, hunting for wreckage and hidden treasure. Then one of his soldiers cuts in, asking if he can talk with the. He snaps that they haven't wiped out every last enemy yet, so hunting treasures is still risky. And Liam clocks it, says treasure hunts in dead, empty spots are painfully boring, then grins because he'd rather steal from those pirates. Liam charges ahead anyway, even as his own soldiers start to resist. They keep pacing back and forth, and the young man suddenly starts. He starts to seethe with indignation, because where's the treasure? And then his soldiers shout that they've finally struck gold, only it's a pile of banknotes. Even so, Liam snaps, not good enough, and then one of his subordinates stumbles on a secret past. They swing the door open, step inside, and right in the heart of the hall, something like a living sculpture forms itself. Liam can't help it. He stares at it, baffled, because those things look like petrified people frozen in place. Liam strides up to a towering sculpture, and his soldiers practically beg him to tread carefully. The kid closes in, until he can finally see the human face staring right back. Liam feels it too, like people are crawling out of that statue, and he watches the soldiers stare at it while the pirates do their usual wild thing, digging around because Liam told them to look for answers about that statue. Later, the whole crew stumbles right into the ex-nerd's house. Kurt thanks Liam for all his help, then leans in and says he can't wait to tell everyone the boy's finally free to. Liam finally gets some rest, and his family is turning a mansion left behind by the old administrator into their new home, praying Liam loves it. The boy's eyes widen as the place sprawls out before him, and Ella leans in, saying it's insanely spacious, right up until she blurts, "And I don't." Complaints, Liam finally gets what. Going on, he realizes Kurt's family is doing just fine, steady, solid, and somehow holding it together. The maids step in and say, dead on, that the bathroom is tinted red. They tell Liam to step out first to calm everyone down, but he hesitates and frets, so he finally pushes Kurt to go first instead. In the end, they finally decide to crash together, side by side, and rest. Ella's thrilled to be alone, so she dives straight into tinkering with her tech. Then a friendly drone buzzes overhead. Through the lens, she catches Kurt and Liam side by side. She's about to explode with what she's seeing. She smiled because the two were so close. She just knew everything would be fine as long as she was right there beside them from the beginning. During that time, she stared at them as they slept, then ate like nothing was wrong. They kept eating right up until the moment the farewell finally hit. Kurt bids Liam goodbye with a heavy, nostalgic ache, while Ella can't hold back the tears over every single moment they lived through. After Liam finally made it back home, Brian started barking that it's been 3 whole months since he left the Razel household, but he refused to let that kill his celebration party. This man is drowning in depression, and Liam snaps back, saying a party isn't even needed. And Brian can simply blast the news to everyone, he's back. Then he leans in and admits it. He's blown away that Liam came back with his bonsai, and the kid snaps that the Razel household just can't see what any of it is worth. Brian goes quiet for a beat, then leans in and demands what Liam actually learned during his studies, only for the kid to shrug and admit he didn't pick up a single truly worthwhile thing. And even then, he still soaked up stuff he never should have learned, and if Kurt and Ella hadn't stepped in, he'd been stuck with 3 brutal years. Brian says he gets it, and he's relieved to see Liam hasn't changed at all. He'd been terrified by what happened in the Razel household and what that could mean for Liam, but right now the kid looks like he's doing better than anyone expected. During the day, the MC locks in at his desk and grinds nonstop. After a bit, Amagi tells him that was all the work he needs right now, and the boy grumbles under his breath. Liam notices he's taken longer than usual, then huffs that he needs more training before he can even think about enrolling in the academy. Amagi tells him he's got to step into the education capsule for a full year before he can enroll. The MC looks at the Razel household's training and instantly realizes it's a mess, then blurts out, "How on earth did they get famous?" Then it hits. Liam tells Amagi to start taking students in his territory, but she shuts it down fast. She doesn't have the money, and without enough fame, it won't work. Liam shoots back that he'll kick things off with the nobles from neighboring territories. Then his maid blurts out that she heard Liam just dumped another huge fortune on weapons. She realizes that blowing money on super expensive military gear could wreck their other plans. Liam insists it'll be totally fine. He can just hand the equipment over to someone else. Amagi snaps back, "That's not how this works," and warns that if they do it that way, it could blow everything up instead. Then the boy blurts out, asking why they can't rent the equipment and somehow turn it into money. Amagi figures this is enough for now, but warns the boy to stay sharp next time. The statue Liam found looks like it was carved by petrified people, and somehow those same victims also got hit with a strange blessing. Liam is reeling in disbelief. How could they even have a blessing when their faces are drowning in pure despair? Turns out, it's the kind of blessing that locks in your sanity and keeps it from slipping. Staying sane after you get turned to stone takes serious preparation. Realizing what it costs to come back from being petrified is just brutal. Liam can't believe it. What did those people do to deserve this? Amagi shakes her head and says you'll never know unless you ask them straight. Liam realizes he already lived through hell in his past life, and once he knows that, it feels wrong not to help people. And if they dare to turn on him, he'll wipe them out. So the boy pleads with Amagi for help, and the girl promises she'll do whatever he wants. Liam looks completely drained. Then the maid slides in and asks why he won't give himself a break. The young man leans in and pitches the idea. Come on, let's take a dip, just relax. Amagi and the boy dive into the pool together, and he blurts out that it's awesome. Then the MC explodes in frustration. At the Razel house, he couldn't catch a break or even enjoy a single peaceful moment to relax. And non-stop, those maids kept chasing him around. He could barely believe it when he realized he'd endured that nightmare for 3 whole years. If I add up everything, Razel's not as awesome as he pretends to be. Amagi is blown away, while Liam leans in and calls Randolph the perfect example of who you absolutely should not be. One family he wants to admire is the ex-Ner family, who are squeezing the public with a brutal 60% tax. And their son, Kurt, is so impressive with this amazing spark he's got. It's looking bright. Amag is practically glowing because Liam actually managed to make good friends. Liam jolts to his feet and the maid gasps, "What's wrong?" Not long after, the whole population erupts into a heated debate because they're furious about those sudden tax hikes to upgrade the nearby satellites. Everyone's stuck arguing about those taxes, but one thing's clear. If pirates get in, it'll be way worse. It's way smarter to pay the taxes and back the armament. Amagi clocks it instantly because Liam is practically vibrating with excitement. He's grinning at how the people are taking those taxes in stride because they don't think this jump is some personal attack from the boy. They're seeing it for what it really is, a move meant to protect everyone. Liam couldn't believe it. Brian and Amagi didn't fight the idea of raising the tax, and now he's one step closer to becoming a cruel lord. The maid watches it all click into place. Satellites up, security tight, and once Liam hands the tax decisions over to her, she pulls Brian in and they slam out their priorities. Liam admits his real goal was never kindness. It was watching people suffer, and Amagi snaps back that she's thrilled the boy is doing so well. During the TV commercial breaks, they start hyping up a brand new hairstyle called the tornado cut. That's an explosive way to say what you mean, and Liam is absolutely stunned by it. He can't help it, he's staring at that popular haircut like, wait, what is this, and do folks on my planet actually rock it for real? Amagi tells Liam they don't allow that kind of haircut in the mansion, so he should relax. But Liam snaps back that those cuts still exist outside the mansion. He refuses to let the territory keep sporting that humiliating haircut. So the young man steps up and demands a rule be written to shut down that style for good. Amagi blurts out, if he keeps acting like this, won't the whole crowd turn on me? Brian steps up, leans in, and tells Liam he's got someone he has asterisk to introduce. Serena bursts into the room and makes her grand introduction. She beams and tells him it's an absolute pleasure to finally meet the young man. Brian blurts that she's an old friend of his, and that they both work together inside the Imperial Palace. If Liam wants to start taking students there, he can't do better than her. She's the perfect choice, and Liam's ready to bust his tail for it, waiting right on Serena's results before he makes his move. The lady leans in and thanks the boy for trusting her. The MC realizes she's somehow come out looking amazing, and she snaps her thanks to Brian because, somehow, they still managed to track down someone truly competent. Time dragged past in a blur, and when the year finally turned over, Serena grabbed Liam and introduced him to everyone in that class. All the chosen ones thank the boy for what he did, except for the one who doesn't. Who's hanging back there, and what's their game? A kid rolls with an android at his side. Serena whips across his face, then snaps at the boy to shut up, just for a moment. The boy grumbles that she's acting like she owns the world, and Liam moves in to face her. Then the MC steps up and lands a brutal punch right on his face. Then he snaps that he doesn't want dead weight in his place and orders the boy to get out, right now. Every other student nearby drops their jaw in pure shock. Brian tells Liam that Serena luckily kept her cool and stopped the others from spiraling. but he still wants the house to stay calmer than this. Then Brian leans in and asks if any girl from that group has caught Liam's eye. Liam just shakes his head and says none of them impressed him. The butler says straight up that they're all here as marriage candidates, but none are really his type, which is a real shame. Even though everyone's supposed to just pin labels, tons of families still shove their daughters into this so they can snag a husband. For Brian, it's a real problem that Liam won't even look their way. Because the moment he opens his mouth, he says there's not a single girl here who grabs his attention, and he refuses to force himself into anything. Meanwhile, Randolph is drowning in despair. Every merchant vanished from his territory, and most of his key vassals slipped away too. The man stares at it all, trembling, and demands to know how this even happened, and what he did wrong. Meanwhile, the man in the top hat drinks in every last drop of suffering and despair. He didn't like how things turned out, but after those two actually got pulled into the problem, their strength shot up. He won't touch this with his own hands. Those are the rules. But once he's done, he'll lay out the truth for that idiot who trusts him and send him straight into despair. This time he won't just stop. He'll yank Liam straight down into the depths of hell. And that's where the video finally cuts off. Don't miss the next part. Trust me, you'll want to be there. Smash that notification bell so you never miss a single upload. On TOB's channel,